upstate.
Well, the time has come, Tolos. It's game day, and it is a big one. College football playoff. Miami in action. Where you at, Madcraft? Going against Ole Miss tonight. It is time for Diesel and I to put our prediction hats on and get right down to it on this Thursday edition of Wire to Wire. Welcome into the show. He's Diesel. I'm Cole Bryson, and Diesel, it is here. We have waited a few days, not quite as long of a wait as it is from the time the season ends to the first college football playoff game, right? But the time has come where you and I must make our predictions for what happens tonight. And I must admit, I have a lot of excitement. I don't know if I had this much excitement in the entirety of last year's college football playoff, the entire bracket, Diesel. I'm super excited about tonight's game between Ole Miss and Miami.
Why are we playing this game on a Thursday night?
I can't answer that question.
Isn't college football supposed to be played on Saturdays? What are we doing here? Yep. Like college football, this is what happens when you don't have a commissioner, when you don't have an NCAA, any kind of structure managing the whole thing. You basically get punked by the NFL. They take over whatever days they want on the calendar at this time of the year, and then you got to shift things around. So now college football is playing a playoff game on a traditionally NFL Thursday night.
Right.
We got NFL playoff games being played on Saturdays. None of this makes any sense. There's not a uniform number of days between this round and the one before it and the one before that. So we're just kind of all over the place. I feel a little discombobulated, right?
Yeah.
Like if we weren't doing a show, you and I weren't diving into this stuff every single day, I might miss the game because I would think it was on Saturday.
Stone Man from Classic Rock 101.1 said the same thing a minute ago. I was talking to him, and he said, "What are you talking about today?" And I said, "The game tonight."
Stone Man's too busy trying to pick out his new nose.
I'm sorry.
He
Big
broke
Buck
his
Country.
face.
I apologize.
Yeah, he broke his face in a laundry accident.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
And he's a little out of it.
He did say, he said, "Oh, I totally forgot the game was tonight." He said, "I was watching a new series about the emergency room or whatever." Whatever it is that people watch, these ER dramas, you know how that is.
Gosh.
But no,
of course
people,
he watches those.
You might be right, Diesel. There might be somebody listening today that says, you know what, I totally forgot. Maybe you're not a sports guru. Maybe you don't talk about sports 4 hours a day like Diesel and I do. But here it is. It's time. Miami, a team that's really, really good. 4-1 against the spread, Diesel, in the last 5 games. Ole Miss 5-2 against the spread in the last 7. This game tonight, I think, has the making to be a really, really good football game. And as of right now, I don't know if there's been a ton of line movement. As of right now, at this very moment, at 3:03 on the 8th day of January, Diesel, Miami's favored by 3 points. So neutral site, right? It's the Verbo. It's the word that is missing a letter, it feels like, the Verbo Fiesta Bowl. And that game, by the way, where's that? I should know.
Verbo?
Is that?
I thought it was the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl.
No, this is VRBO.
What are we doing
What
here?
is Verbo, by the way? Do you know what Verbo is?
Verbo,
what is Airbnb,
Verbo,
right?
Is it? I would have thought it was like some kind of language learning. Like Rosetta Stone is gone. Now we're using Verbo. That makes sense.
No, I'm pretty sure it's Airbnb, type service.
Like if we found out that Dewey was deep in the Verbo language program, we'd be like, okay, that makes sense.
Okay, that does a little bit. By the way, Diesel tonight, Glendale, Arizona is where the game is being played. So in Arizona, again, right now, Miami's favored by 3 points. And I want to start the segment. We're going to get into our official predictions here in a minute. And Tolos, we want to hear from you in this segment as well. A big show. We've got John Whittle of the Big Spur. We've got Clemson, South Carolina portal acquisitions going crazy right now. Tolo takeover at 5 o'clock. A big show. But at 844-326-3663 on the Joy Law Firm text line, we want to hear what your prediction is. Before we get to ours, Diesel, if I'm giving you free play at this very moment, which side are you going with on the spread? Just picking the spread. So do you like Miami to cover the 3 points, meaning they win by more than 3, or kind of leading us in the direction of your prediction here coming up in a few minutes? Do you like Ole Miss to cover the 3 points?
Gosh, Miami's defense is really, really good. But guess what? Ole Miss's offense is really, really good. I think we're going to be in a little bit of a higher scoring game than Miami has been in the last 2 playoff games against A&M and Ohio State. If I had to put money on it right now, I'm saying, especially because you said it's free play. It's not my money. It's free play.
Yeah.
I'm putting money on Ole Miss to cover.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I think as I was asking you that question, I was thinking of what my answer was going to be. If I got free play right now, I think I'd go Miami. I think I'd go Miami to cover.
Okay.
Neutral site. Here's where I am. I'm kind of with you on the Ole Miss. Like, this is really, really hard for me to make a prediction on this game tonight. I think, Diesel, here's where I am right now. A few hours before the game. 7:30 kick tonight, I believe. I think Miami has the better team. I think Ole Miss has the better player. I think Trinidad Chambliss might be the best player on the field.
And how much are they going to be hampered by losing more of their coaching staff? They're just peeling them off.
That's true.
One by one. By the way, Dewey says that he lives in a Verbo. I replied, no, Dewey, you live in a Volvo.
Dewey lives in a Verbo. Thanks, Dewey. By the way, 30 Tolos watching the show, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. What's up, JB, the OG Tolo? He is one of the OG Tolos.
Yeah, he is.
He really is, man.
He was here day one.
No
Dewey,
doubt.
where were you on day one?
I think Dewey was like day 6.
Still, he's not a day one. He's not an OG.
I don't know. Maybe he was.
That means original gangsta.
Maybe he was. By the way, today, show 434. Speaking of day one, you and I have done this 434 times today. Can you believe
That's
that?
a lot. I can't even fathom sitting in this room and talking to you about sports 434 times.
Well,
it feels like an abstract giant number.
We've got to do something for 500, though. I mean, we're getting close to that. We're at 434.
Ooh.
So let's predict.
See what? Let's rub some nickels together and talk to our sponsors and see if we could do something for 500.
500. Help me out on this, Diesel. You're better with math than I am. You don't count the weekends, right? Yep. So there's only 5 days. Show 500 will come in the month of, I'm guessing here.
We got to go 76 shows to get there.
I'm going to guess
66 shows to get there.
I'm going to guess late March.
66.
Am I off on that? I'm going to guess late March. Now, you've taken a couple holidays, like I think MLK Day we're off, whatever.
It's 13.2 weeks from right
now.
So
that'd be April, Diesel, I think.
13 weeks, 1, 2, 3.
I'm going to guess early April will be show 500. That's my guess. Let's see how far off I am on this. Is Diesel's going to get the
roughly April 6th or 7th.
Oh, okay.
Should be show 500.
What if it was April Fool's? What if show 500 was on April the 1st?
What if we just took that day off?
I love it.
Just
tell them we're done.
Jeff
Baxley on the Facebook stream says, "What's up, fellas? Hurricane Jeff here." Jeff, you're a big day man. You're a Hurricane fan. What are you feeling tonight? What are you cooking up? What's your gut tell you? 844-FAN phone. Call the show, text the show, or message in on the stream as you've already done so. Let me know what you think on tonight's game, Jeff. JB Diesel says, this is a good comment, by the way. JB says, I don't think Miami has the better team. I think Miami has had 2 good matchups so far in the playoffs. Remember that team that Miami beat in Aggie Land also was down 30-3 to an awful Gamecocks team. Do you tell me if I'm wrong there? JB disagrees, Diesel. Do you think I'm off? Do you think Miami isn't the better team? Who do you think right now is the better team? I just go back to a couple of years ago with Clemson, South Carolina, when Lenora Sellers, Diesel, 2 seasons ago beat Clemson. I thought Clemson had the better team, but in that game, Lenora Sellers was the best player on the field, so it didn't matter. He made a couple Superman type plays. You remember down the stretch in the 4th quarter. Sometimes you just need the better player. I think JB, it's a good point. I still think I believe that Miami is the more complete team. They're a really good football team. Got a veteran quarterback, an experienced quarterback who, by the way, has seen a lot of ball. Would you say that in your mind, Ole Miss or Miami is the better team?
Right now, I think Miami's the better team.
Me too.
But as you're saying before, Ole Miss has got the better quarterback. Imagine Miami with Trinidad Chambliss as their quarterback. That's a national championship winning team right there. I don't trust Carson Beck right now.
Ooh.
Right? I mean, I know that he's capable of 300-yard games. I know that he's talented. I know this. but he's not playing great football right now. You know, he's been in that one. He's sort of been in Bryce Young territory. And I know that sounds incredibly disrespectful.
Sorry, Carson.
He's playing in Bryce Young territory right now against some really good defenses in Ohio State and Texas A&M. He's going to be playing another really good defense in Ole Miss. They're not a rush happy team. They don't sack guys a lot, but still they play solid defense. Are we really thinking Carson Beck is going to double or triple his production from the 2 previous games?
No.
In this game?
I don't think
Probably
so.
not.
Maybe a little better.
Yeah. If a running back from Miami puts the game on his shoulders, fine. If Carson Beck can get the ball out into space and allow athletes to make plays, fine. You know, maybe the plays are still there and the defense shuts down Ole Miss just enough. I just hope for everything else that we have a good football game.
I think so.
You know, akin to what we saw in the FCS championship game. Just give us a good football game that's a touchdown kind of game or less, something that's kind of back and forth, drama, intrigue, something. You know, it would be devastating to the sport right now with everything else that's going on to have this be a blowout.
I think going back to that Georgia Ole Miss game, I think that was still one of the best college football games, Diesel, I've watched this year. If it can be similar to that, I'm all in tonight. Good, by the way, really good interaction, Tolo, so far in this segment. Keep it up at 844-326-3663, the Joy Law Firm text line. Look at this comment from Jeff. It's big, it's long. Well, that was worded wrong, but here's Jeff's comment. I'm a little nervous, more nervous than I have been for the previous 2 games, although I was very confident that they would beat Ohio State. I think the mobility of Trinidad Chambliss is going to give the Hurricanes a little bit of a problem, but if they can keep him in the pocket, they should be able to take care of them pretty well in the pass rush. Their running game is probably going to do the trick, as long as Beck doesn't throw them more than 1 interception and manages the game. Good points. I do think with a quarterback like Trinidad Chambliss, Jeff, you make a couple of good points there. When that guy, Diesel, I watched him against Georgia. When that guy gets in space, that's when I get concerned. Right? Because you think you've got him tackled, you think you've got him hemmed up. He just makes a play. Remember how Baker Mayfield a couple of times on Sunday, Diesel, in that game against Carolina? Carolina had him hemmed up, dead to rights on the sideline, and he just made a couple phenomenal plays. I think that same thing goes for Trinidad, and I think Jeff's on the money there. If you can kind of keep him in the pocket, maybe force him to be a pocket passer. Now, that's easier said than done, but I'm with you, Jeff. When he gets on the outside, that's where I get worried. That's where I get concerned because, man, he's just so athletic. He can make plays. And like I said, Diesel, I asked you about that spread. Miami's 4-1 against the spread in their last 5 games, meaning for those that don't know, they've covered the spread 4 out of the last 5 times. Ole Miss is 5-2 against the spread in their last 7. The under has hit frequently in recent games for both teams, so maybe play the under tonight. A Miami offense, Diesel, averaging 31.6 points per game, only giving up 13.1 points per game. That's top 5 nationally. A stingy unit that's dominated, and that's kind of where I'm going to go as we make our predictions here. I think defense still does win championships, right? I think they have an elite defense. And Diesel, they've held teams to under 17 points in college football play. A very disciplined secondary Miami has, a strong pass rush, and I know it's an Ole Miss offense they're going up against that's averaging 37 points per game, which is top 10 or top 6 nationally, very explosive. Diesel, I don't think Ole Miss's defense is as good as Miami. I think Ole Miss's defense is the weakest unit on the field tonight. And with that being said, I think Carson Beck has a little bit better of a night. I think Miami runs the ball, and I think their defense keeps them in good situations. Let's make predictions. I'm going Miami tonight over Ole Miss. What is the, let's see, for my final score, the the total is set at 52.5 points.
Okay, we're talking to 20, 25-ish points.
That's right.
Per.
That's right. So I'm somewhere in that realm. I'm going to go my official prediction tonight. I'm going Miami 28. Ole Miss 24. 28-24 is my prediction.
How about that? I don't hate it.
You don't hate it?
That's good. I think we're going to have a tight football game. God, I just don't trust Carson Beck. I just don't. And the quarterback is the most important player on the team.
You going Ole Miss?
Unless you get superstar performances from other players on this Ole Miss team or on this Miami team. And I'm talking like pick sixes, scooping scores, that kind of stuff. I don't know that they get it done. I'm going Ole Miss.
Whoa. I didn't think you do that.
And I'm going to go Ole Miss 27.
Okay.
Miami 19.
Wow.
27-19. Ole Miss gets it done. And the only thing uglier than this game and Madcraft ugly crying after the game is these Miami Hurricane Hey Dudes that he's sent me a photo of last night that I think he bought a pair of them. Have you seen these things?
No, I hadn't.
You know, obviously, you know what Hey Dudes look like. You have them?
I have Hey Dudes. Look, I've got Hey Dudes on right now.
Hey Dudes right now?
You mean take them off?
Well, I don't know. Do I? Okay, so he's got. I hesitate to be able to turn the screen around. I might kill the connection, but he bought a pair of these.
No, please tell me.
Send them to me.
Those are hideous.
Yeah, those are bad. Those are bad. But like Hurricane fans, they're so. Madcraft was texting me the other day, and he is so lost in the sauce over Miami being in this position that I literally can't talk to him.
It's unbearable.
You try to talk to him. He doesn't answer the question. It's just like, hey, let me talk about how great the Hurricanes are.
There's no doubt.
It's impossible.
There's no doubt.
And then again, if my team was in this position, I would be the exact same way.
And he literally just sent me a picture as well.
You know, these things were marked down from $75 to $25.
God,
it's clearly not good.
That's
when the manufacturer has to mark them down 66%.
No, not at all. So I'm looking at them. I mean, they're pretty ugly. I'm not going to lie to you. They're pretty ugly. All right, Diesel gets his in. He's going 27-19 Ole Miss. I'm going 28-24 Miami. Miami, do not make me look bad tonight. I mean, do not do it. 844-326-3663, the Joy Law Firm text line. Let us know what your prediction is for tonight's game. He's already mad on the stream about something. Somebody's been insulted. I mean, imagine that, right?
Oh.
Let's see. On the Joy Law Firm text line, Diesel, Philip gets in. He says, okay, Cole, I know my Panthers are up against it Saturday and should lose, but no one is talking about the fact that if they beat the Rams or that they beat the Rams a couple of weeks ago, yes, the Rams had an off game, but can Lightning realistically strike twice? We'll talk more about it tomorrow, Philip, but I do think Lightning can strike twice. I think the Panthers can beat the Rams, but as Diesel pointed out, I think yesterday or the day before, a lot had to happen in order for the Panthers to win that game the first time, meaning the Rams kind of shot themselves in the foot. So, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility, but we'll talk more about it tomorrow, Panthers and Rams on Saturday. All right, Tolos, tonight, Miami and Ole Miss, 3-point spread in favor of Miami. What is your prediction? 844-326-3663. Corn Chip says, well, the amount of times Cole says it, I'm going to need to get him an actual physical hat that he puts on when he makes predictions. We do need prediction hats. We really do.
There you go.
Diesel.
Hey, you can drop ship that stuff nowadays.
Yeah, that's true.
It's easy.
I think 2 days ago, we kind of did a segment on this. But I want to ask you this question real quick before we run off to a break. Last thing on this Miami Ole Miss game tonight for now. We'll talk about it later in the show. You picked Ole Miss. I picked Miami. Mm-hmm. Which quarterback right now do you think has to carry his team more in order for the team to win tonight? That's the question I ask as we end this segment. Which quarterback is going to have a more sore back tomorrow from carrying the team? Do you think there's more pressure on Carson Beck, or do you think there's more pressure on Trinidad Chambliss?
More pressure.
I'm going Trinidad. Because I think Carson Beck has such a good defense and a good run game.
Yeah.
I'd agree. Yeah,
I'd agree.
He doesn't have to do it all.
I also trust him a little bit more to do it, right?
You trust who?
Yeah, Trinidad.
Yeah, he's like, I just think his athleticism is so special. I think that means something. And Trinidad is so athletic, man. Like, that guy's just slippery. It's tough to bring down. I'll tell you this. I can't wait. I cannot wait. We're going to have to rush home, you and I are, in order to see it because 7:30 kick. I guess it'll be, 15 minutes of, talking about the game. Maybe 7:40, 7:45.
Yeah, why don't they ever kick on time?
They never do.
It's annoying as hell.
Never do.
Cole, speaking of slipping out of situations, Clemson slipped out of nearly another epic collapse. They got the win last night at home against SMU. How did they do it? What impressed me about that game? We'll talk about it. Clemson versus SMU next.
Upstate.
Well, with 7 minutes to go, Colt Clemson was up 15 on SMU. The defense was suffocating. The Mustangs could not put the ball in the basket. And then, Clemson led them all the way back in. It got down to a 4-point game with a minute to play. If you were a Tigers fan, you had to be sitting there with butt cheeks clenched during last night's game. If you were even still awake, I mean, a 9 p.m. tip-off, that sucks.
It's tough, yeah.
The game didn't end until sometime just after 11 o'clock. Tough to stay awake for that ball game, Cole, but, man, the Tigers, I think, really turned a corner in last night's game, not giving up that big-time lead and ultimately losing the game to a very good SMU team down the stretch.
And you know what's fascinating? I talked about this a couple of weeks ago. They just don't lose at home much right now in this stretch. And talking about the calendar year of 2025, Diesel, they didn't lose at home but a handful of times. And they've been really good at home, and that means something. They were talking about it last night on the broadcast. One of the announcers said, coming into Little John's now kind of one of those tough places to play, and it's not always been that way. But you're right. It was a game where Clemson kind of dominated, right, the entirety of the game until late. And I thought the commentators last night, if you were watching the TV broadcast, were great because they were dead on the money. SMU, because of what Clemson was doing defensively, Diesel, SMU really just never got into a groove.
Well, that was if you could see the TV broadcast, because I don't know how it was for you on my Roku. I could not watch the game until about the 15-minute mark of the first half.
Really?
Yeah. It was on ESPN, the four-letter number one network. That was showing – it was showing an NBA game.
Yeah.
And now, again, this is on Roku on streaming. I don't have a traditional cable box.
Right.
But they were showing an NBA game. So I assume they couldn't put the Clemson game on, even on streaming, which doesn't make any sense to me, until the NBA broadcast ended. So I didn't get to tune in and watch the first 5 or 6 minutes of the game where Clemson looked really good. They were playing good out of the gate. It was just funny to see how that happens. Like, come on, we're in 2026. Can we not have like an alternate stream for the game that is supposed to be on the four-letter like linear network, but can't be on? It was just an odd way to get that game started. But once we finally tuned in, man, Clemson was just they were just far and away the better team than SMU in that ball game. I've started to become impressed with the way this Clemson offense looks, in the sense that whenever you watch really good basketball teams play, I'm talking perennial top 5, top 10 teams. These are teams that are the players are constantly swirling on offense. Like they're actually running plays as opposed to what looks like just running around and hoping that somebody gets open. They move without the ball so well at times. Now, there were times in that game last night, especially during that comeback run from SMU, where Clemson kind of got away from that. It was hero ball. It was, all right, step back, let Dylan Hunter drive it down the middle, and he almost connected on a couple of those, but still, like, they got away from their style, and maybe credit to SMU for taking that away by what they wanted to do defensively. But this Clemson team now is in a position, and it's extra impressive made light by the fact that Brad Brownell is not playing with guys that have been in his program for a long time. The fact that he's able to achieve this kind of offense with players that are still new to his system is really impressive.
Yeah, and I think those two losses to Alabama and BYU turned out to be good for them. I really do, because since then they haven't lost. And you talked about not being able to watch the first few minutes last night, Diesel. You didn't miss much because Clemson's offense kind of came out slow. But as you saw as the first half went on, the bench production last night was sensational. The Tigers led SMU like 13-8 around the halfway mark of the first half, so it was still close. And then all of a sudden, Clemson's bench and Chase Thompson last night was so good. I mean, you talk about a guy who didn't play a lot of minutes, came in and contributed immediately. 13 minutes played last night from Chase Thompson, 7 points, 3 of 3 from the field, 1 of 1 from three-point land. Diesel. He did contribute immediately as soon as he came in. Nick Davidson was really good last night. And you talk about Ace Buckner off the bench, Butta Johnson, like those guys, the bench play was so critical because Clemson's offense, you'll see it. You talked about a lot of these guys still learning to play with each other, and the season now starting to become a little bit more granular, Diesel. But these guys, they're going to continue to get better. But when you have a solid bench play like that last night, Clemson's bench was the difference, and SMU never got going in large part due to what Clemson was doing defensively. I think that goes. You credit Brad Brownell because that's a big part of what you said. In this new modern era of college basketball, you're going to have new faces every year. Offensively, Diesel, you're still going to have to kind of figure things out. But guess what travels? Defense travels. And I know they were at home last night, but night in and night out in this league, if you can play good defensive basketball, which Clemson did really well last night, you're going to have a shot. You throw in that elite bench production, and that's exactly what you got last night. Last night was a really good game for Clemson.
You could tell they were feeling themselves when R.J. Godfrey is draining threes. Like they said he had not hit one
he was hot.
In a Clemson uniform in 2 years. Now, I don't know if that means the 2 years he was at Clemson prior to the year he was at Georgia, because it's one of those things. Eventually you stop paying attention to the transfer portal, especially in basketball, because we're not a huge college basketball show here. But I didn't know that R.J. Godfrey had left Clemson to go to Georgia for a year and then came back. A great story. They were talking about him on the broadcast last night, saying it's essentially, not to quote R.J. here, but leaving Clemson was a poor decision, and that coming back was the best decision he'd ever made. He was very complimentary of Brad Brownell and the system that he runs and the feeling, the family, all that kind of stuff of Clemson basketball. But, RJ could have gotten himself, I should say, in a little bit of hot water last night because he was going up against that big Turkish brute in Yigi Toglu.
Yes, that's exactly
Yigi
right.
Toglu, yeah. And that guy was a brick wall. I mean, he was absolutely huge. R.J. Godfrey, they get into a little bit of a scuffle, and R.J. shoves him. Mm-hmm. And luckily, refs didn't see it. They didn't call it. They didn't throw a technical on him, anything like that. Now, SMU's coach is losing his freaking mind. He's shoving him. That's a foul. So the moment almost got the better of R.J. Godfrey in that situation. But again, refs didn't see it. He gets away with it. Andy Enfield can be mad. I'm sure he was talking about it in the postgame press conference. But they were able to recover. So it felt like, that game was hanging by a thread for Clemson over those last 3 or 4 minutes of the game. And then, as you say all the time, it's very true. Basketball is a game of runs. It's a game of streaks. And Clemson gave up that run from a guy named Boopy Miller, great name in college basketball. He was amazing at the free throw line. Dude just didn't miss. And it was the weirdest stance, too. Like, he stands with his feet almost as far wide as he can. Looks like he's setting up for one of those Rick Barry underhanded free throws, but he is lights out from the free throw line. Those two guys, Yigi Talaglov and Boopy Miller, single-handedly almost took that game over down the stretch.
Brad Brownell last night after the game said this was a great team win for us. He credited the fans, Diesel, for showing up for the first home game of 2026 and a 9 p.m. tip, what you mentioned, late, right? But not for the students. It was an electric atmosphere last night. I also wanted to get to a tweet from Chapel Fowler of the state newspaper, Diesel, SMU coach, who you just mentioned, Andy Enfield. He shuffled past reporters into his seat in the Little John Coliseum press room for the post-game interview. And his first comment was, y'all should use some of that football money and build a bigger room. Obviously, kind of joking, but salty after the loss, right? I mean, come on, Andy. What are you doing? Hey, maybe you should use some of that Texas oil money and get a better team, right? That's what I would have said if I was there last night.
Bring your own. Why not that? You got the money. You can trailer up a meeting room all the way to Clemson, South Carolina. I saw somebody trailer up a giant Tiger Mardi Gras float for the LSU game. So why couldn't you bring your own room? It's
Diesel. Clemson last night, I don't know if I pointed this out yet or not. They held SMU until the late stretch where SMU got hot. SMU finished the night shooting 37%. But for the majority of that game, SMU was shooting around 29-30%. That's really, really good defense. You also, if you're Clemson, you also turned SMU over 13 times last night. Even though SMU had a slight edge on the glass, 37-33 and edge Clemson in the offensive boards, 12-11. Clemson's defense late was key last night, man. And you're going to have runs. You mentioned timing and being a game of runs. You're going to have runs where you're not as crisp offensively, especially in the ACC. But that defense, you mentioned R.J. Godfrey, 17 points last night and some key pivotal baskets. If that guy continues to play like that, Clemson's going to be tough with that bench, the balanced scoring. I mean, 9-9 bench scoring advantage, in that deep bench that they had last night. You talked about Poopy Miller. He had 23 points, but outside of that, who was SMU's top scorer, SMU struggled in areas, and a lot of that had to do with Clemson's defense. So you look at the stretch they are about to go on, Diesel. They have Notre Dame on Saturday, Boston College, Miami, NC State in their next 4. This is a team that I think all of a sudden, after a few tough losses to Bama and BYU, could really find themselves in the top 25, I think, in the next couple of weeks. Maybe even, what are we thinking, receiving votes next week?
Well, it could be. This game pushes them in the latest net rankings that are updated. Were updated at the end of the day yesterday. This pushes them up from 33 to 32. So It's not a huge jump. But then again, they just beat the number 24 ranked team at home. So, you're going to rise, but you're not going to rise that much. At Notre Dame is their next game. Notre Dame, a good basketball team. Not great, though, against the top quality competition.
Yeah.
Notre Dame is 1-4 against quad 1 teams. Clemson is a quad 1 team. They're 7-1 at home, are the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. But again, they're not playing the best of the best teams at home. It's still early in the season, still time to get some ACC opponents in there and improve that resume. But right now, again, 1-4 against quad 1 teams. It seems like Notre Dame kind of folds when they play top level competition. The question is, can Clemson take their best on the road? If they can do that, I say they probably, win this game comfortably, not in a blowout.
I like the way their schedule sets up, Diesel, because I think you've got some winnable games in the next few weeks. You've got Notre Dame, BC, Miami, and NC State. There's a few tough ones in there. But then you have Georgia Tech, Pitt, and Stanford. And then I think mid-February, when you go to Berkeley, I think you and I will talk about this from the first week of February to the middle of February. We're going to talk about a stretch that's very, very important for this Clemson basketball team, especially if they fall through a little bit in the next few games. They go to Berkeley on the 7th of February. Then they host Mike Young and Virginia Tech February 11th. Then they go to Duke that Saturday. Then they go to Wake. Then they host Florida State, host Louisville, at North Carolina, and finish the season with Georgia Tech. So from the beginning to middle of February, that stretch is going to be tough. And if you can stack some wins in the next couple of weeks, this team's going to be in good position to make the tournament. However, if you fall through a little bit, who knows? The good thing is they're 3-0. Despite the loss to Bama, despite the loss to BYU the very next game, they're 3-0 in league play, and they've afforded themselves with 3 good wins to have 1 or 2 losses in the next couple of weeks. But I think that stretch down the run is going to be tough for Clemson.
Well, they really needed a game like this to prove that they could weather the storm, right? I mean, they did not weather the storm against BYU. They barely weathered the storm against, Cincinnati, who put up 47 second-half points to Clemson's 30 second-half points. They won the game. But still, I mean, they gave up plus 17 in the second half to Cincinnati. They needed a game like this to prove that they could stop the bleeding when it happens. And again, you say it all the time. It's a game of runs. Teams are going to get hot. You're going to go ice cold. It just happens for some reason. It's like getting the shanks out there when you're playing golf. You don't know why it happens. It just happens, but you have to figure out how to turn that faucet off as quickly as you possibly can, and hopefully get it shut off before the game is over. So they needed this as a confidence builder game. They'll go on the road at Notre Dame. If they can get that win, man, that would make 7 in a row for Clemson. And then they come back home for a couple of ball games. They could be stacking, 8, 9, 10, 11 wins in a row.
RJ says Coach Infield's not wrong. The media room at Little John is equal to a sardine can. Not much space to work with.
Shane Beamer complaining about the size of the meeting rooms now?
Yeah, that's right. Look, he lost. If he won, I doubt Diesel he brings it up, right? He probably doesn't bring it up if they would have won that game. But nonetheless, big win for Clemson. Let's see what they can do over these next couple of weeks. League play in this conference is tough, and we'll talk about South Carolina a little bit tomorrow as well, because as Dewey pointed out, they did have a big win over LSU. And also today on the show, we'll talk Gamecocks with John Whittle of the Big Spur. He covers South Carolina men's basketball. So if you're listening thinking, man, y'all just spent a whole segment on Clemson, well, guess what? John Whittle of the Big Spur will join the show at 4:22, not only today, but every Thursday. Big time guest when you talk about South Carolina. Obviously covers baseball, football as well. But when you talk about this Lamont Paris-led team, if you have a question for John Whittle, let us know. We'll get it to him on the Joy Law Firm text line. All right, Diesel, it is time in the very next segment. I am going to blow your mind, and I hope you are ready for it. And I mean like big time blow your mind. I am going to tell you why, and the Tolos why, the Carolina Panthers are going to win the Super Bowl this year. I'm not kidding. This is not a joke.
Really?
This is not a joke. I'm being dead serious. When you hear it, you will be shell-shocked. That's next.
and phone. This is Wire to Wire with Cole, Bryson, and Diesel on the Fan Upstate.
So this is not a fire drill. This is not a joke. This is not like some funny segment that I'm doing, Diesel. But I'm serious. You're already laughing, but I'm being serious here for a second. I'm going to tell you why the Carolina Panthers are going to win the Super Bowl. Like this year. In real life, not on a video game.
What?
Yes.
No Tecmo Bowl?
No. This is real life. And I'm telling you, after you hear why, you're going to be convinced that they are going to, even with Bryce Young. Yes, and no, Cam's not coming back. I saw this audio last night, and I'm going to give you 3 reasons why the Carolina Panthers will win the Super Bowl, then I'll play the audio. Here's why Carolina will win this year's Super Bowl. Ohio State, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and Jennifer Lopez. That's why. Is that enough?
Were they all featured on an episode of South Park?
Nope. Are you convinced now, or do you need to know more? Ohio State.
Yeah, I can't.
The Jacksonville Jaguars.
I can't pass go and collect $200 on this. Tell me more, please.
And Jennifer Lopez. I came across this audio last night.
The Carolina Panthers are going to the Super Bowl this year, and it's all because of Ohio State, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and Jennifer Lopez. Let me get into it. All those things correlate with a Panthers Super Bowl berth. The keys to a Panthers Super Bowl berth are an Ohio State football championship the year prior. In 2002 and 2014, the Ohio State Buckeyes won the Natty. In 2003 and 2015, the Panthers went to the Super Bowl. Along with Ohio State winning it all, the Panthers also had to have started the season playing the Jaguars. When Carolina made the Super Bowl in 2003 and 2015, they played the Jaguars in Week 1. They also played the Jags in Week 1 this year. And I know you heard me talk about Jennifer Lopez earlier. If she files for or officially gets divorced the year before the Super Bowl, the Panthers make it. In 2002, she filed for divorce with Chris Judd. Then in 2003, the Panthers made the Super Bowl. In 2014, she divorced Mark Anthony. In 2015, the Panthers made the Super Bowl. And in 2025, J-Lo divorced Ben Affleck. What's coming up in a month in 2026? Not only that, but the Panthers have had a losing record every single year before they went to a Super Bowl. In 2002, they went 7-9. In 2014, they went 7-8-1. And last year, 2024, they went 5-12. So let's add all this up. With Ohio State having won the national championship last year, with the Panthers playing the Jags to start the season in Week 1, with J-Lo getting divorced from Ben Affleck in 2025, and the Panthers having a losing record last year, all the signs are pointing to a Panthers Super Bowl berth this year. And it all starts this week at home against the Rams, who they already beat this year. I don't know about y'all, but I'm going to be hammering Panthers money.
So there you have it. All kidding aside, Diesel, now you know when Ohio State wins the Natty the year before, and when the Carolina Panthers played Jacksonville to open the season, and when Jennifer Lopez files for a divorce in the same year, and when they have a losing record the year before, they are always in the Super Bowl. There you have it. There you have it.
Well, I'm convinced.
Yes.
Keep
yes.
pounding.
I was hoping I could pull you in on the rope.
God, how does one come across this information?
I'm telling you.
How does one put this together? That's a lot.
It's a lot
to put together.
But that means it's going to happen. So breaking news.
Oh, my God.
Because of Ohio State, because of Jennifer Lopez and the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Panthers are going, baby.
If nothing else tells you that we are living in a simulation, I don't know what else you need.
I mean, that's impressive, right?
A completely random collection of events like those happening on a cycle, happening like there's too much coincidence there to be coincidence.
So much coincidence.
God.
Ohio State did win the Natty last year. Jacksonville, they did play in the first game. Jennifer's filing for divorce, baby. And guess what?
You know what? Here's what I'm going to do.
Happening.
I'm going to do this. I'm going to take one for the team, Cole. I will woo and marry Jennifer Lopez and then get divorced from her so that the following year the Panthers can go back to the Super Bowl again.
I think there's probably a lot of guys that would sign up for that. Just saying.
She still looks pretty good.
DB on YouTube says that is wild. Madcraft says, well, now this is just craziness. It's not crazy. It happened, and it's going to happen again.
In the years that all of those things happened, did Miami win the national championship?
No.
Oh, well, it's also proof that the Hurricanes are going to lose tonight to the Ole Miss Rebels.
Hammer Ole Miss right now because of Jennifer Lopez, Jacksonville, and Ohio State. All kidding aside, we'll talk more about it tomorrow, Diesel, because tomorrow, Friday, and then the very next day is the Panthers game. Right now, gut feeling, are you like Where's your confidence level? Where's your confidence meter?
It's not. It's at the bottom.
Oh, come on.
It's at the bottom.
Come on.
Come on. They needed an epically bad game from the LA Rams to win that game. Epically bad game from Matt Stafford to win that game. That's not going to happen again.
So you don't have like any confidence?
I'm going to say there's like a 20% chance. Like what does the ESPN matchup predictor say?
Don't
like
look. Don't
80%.
look. No, don't look.
Rams?
You'll not be happy. You'll not be happy. But that's pretty wild. Thanks to Jennifer Lopez.
Good stuff. When we come back, Cole, we have neglected to do this up until now. I'm going to say we waited until the traditional day for picks to come in. We're going to reveal the final results from the wire-to-wire upset picks challenge, the final standings with an asterisk next to it because who knows? We could have made some mistakes here. We're only human. And after that, we're going to play a little game. How well does Cole know the NFL? Third grade trivia edition. Next. Cole, it's only been 5 months in the making, but we have reached the culmination. It is over. The Wire-to-Wire Upset Picks Challenge for the 2025 football season is in the books.
No.
And we have a champion.
Wow. Me?
No.
Dang it.
That's
Why
the
do I
funniest
look at
thing
me?
you've said all day. Oh, my God. We have a champion.
Oh.
It is not Cole. The winner of the Wire-to-Wire Upset Picks Challenge, brought to you by Ingles, is not a surprise to anyone, Cole, because he walked away from the field all season long. He was on a roll from week 0 all the way to the end. Congratulations to Dave Mosley.
Wow.
With the most number of points we've ever had in this challenge, 80.5 total points. Absolutely smoked second place USC Justin, who had 59, an impressive number, but it pales in comparison to the job Dave did.
Dave was incredible, man, and you said it.
Mm-hmm.
He was great from the get-go. And you know what?
Yep.
It kind of ticked everybody else off because nobody else ever had a chance.
No.
It was Dave's the entire time. Dave Mosley is the champion. And I know we've got some stats here in a minute, but Dave was just kicking butt the entire time. I don't know how he did it. I really don't know how he did it, Diesel. But look, he didn't just throw some 5, 6, 7 point dogs together. He hit on some big underdogs, which is why it's so impressive.
Dewey says he cheated.
How do you cheat?
How do you cheat at this, Dewey?
I even tried to use ChatGPT, Dewey, and that didn't work.
So I started with number 1, Cole, because I don't want to say who finished in the top 10.
Oh, I know why.
Because
It's your fault, by the way.
It is my fault. We said get your spouses involved, get your kids involved, get everybody you can possibly get involved in this thing. And I created a monster.
Mm-hmm.
My wife, F.U. Ashley, finished tied for 9th place with Alan B. from Boiling Springs with 40 points. Congratulations. Top 10, F.U. Ashley and Alan B. from Boiling Springs.
How does it feel knowing that your wife was better? I mean, all
Awful.
season.
It feels awful, Cole, because you know why? I was giving her my early leans every week and said, just pick one. And she just kept hitting again and again and again. She knows nothing about football. She hates sitting around watching football. She says she hates football, Cole, because it's too tense. Like when there's a tight football game, she says it stresses her out. She doesn't like to watch it. But to me, I was like, that's the best part of the game.
Right.
So congratulations to you two. Tied for 7th place with 42 points. We have Canes Transplant and Gamecock Tim. In 6th place, RJ with 43 points. In 5th place, the Leprechaun of Lyman with 45 points. I guess you can, soothe all those Notre Dame losses and not getting into the playoff with your 5th place.
That's big
in the
time,
Upset
man.
Picks Challenge. In 4th place, Corn Chip with 46 points. Way to go, Corn Chip. Hurricane Jeff finishes in 3rd place with 52.5. USC Justin in 2nd place with 59, and Dave Mosley basically lapping the field with 80.5. Think about this, Cole. Dave Mosley doubled the 2 Tolos that were tied for 9th place.
That's crazy, man.
Doubled.
That just
More than
shows you. I mean, there was a log jam. Everybody, everywhere else except for where Dave Mosley was. He was incredible. I had people texting me throughout the year when these standings came out each week, Diesel, asking, how's this guy doing it? So I don't know. He's never going to tell us how, but it was incredible. You said it was the most ever scored in the Upset Picks Challenge.
Yep.
That's incredible.
Cole, you finished tied for 37th place.
Not bad.
With Clemson 83.
Okay.
23 points total in 37th place.
Let's go.
I, on the other hand, I stayed out of the last column, which is good. That's the worst place to be. I finished with 10.5 points in 80th place.
Well, you know what? You were out last week when Dan and I were talking about this. Dan B called the show, and we're going to get to Dan in a second. But I think that just goes to show, Diesel. I finished 36th, you said?
Yes.
36th place?
Yep.
I think that just goes to show For any Tolo who, number one, didn't compete in the Upset Picks Challenge or quit halfway through the season, I felt like I was the worst at this. I felt like I never hit. I felt like I just couldn't get anything right, but I stayed in it, hit a few down the stretch, Diesel, especially during bowl week. I think I hit the pre-Christmas bowl, and then Tolos, didn't get in, so they start to drop off a little bit, right? Lose 2 points, and it just goes to show, even I, who felt like I was the world's worst at the Upset Picks Challenge, finished top 40. And that's surprising.
You came from the back of the field all the way up to 37th place. Let's go to the phone lines and bring in the arbiter, the one who does all the math, makes us look a lot better for it. Dan B., welcome to the show.
Hey, guys. I do have to drop one correction on you.
No.
Twisted had 84 points.
Oh, Twisted. Okay. Twisted Whisker had 84. And he didn't even show up this year.
What was the deal with that?
I think isn't he on the board?
Well, he didn't show up in the same way that he did last year.
No. Yeah. I don't think he played every week either.
Yeah. So, few points behind last year.
Yeah, Dave ended up, so he took the lead in week 3, week 0 to week 3. So in the 4th week of playing, he took the lead from USC Justin, who had the lead for 1 week by himself. The 2 previous weeks, there were still ties going on. The most Dave hit was 4 in a row. The most hit this year in a row was Bo from Greer, hit 5 in a row.
Wow.
First 5 weeks of the season. We hadn't even had more than 3 leading up to this year. And we had a handful with 4 in a row in that week. Leading to Bo getting the 5th one. But Dave got 9 correct picks out of 19 weeks of play.
And those were 9 big
ones,
picks.
Man.
Most of them were above 10. The last couple that he hit near the end of the season were, I think, a 2.5 and a 3.5. But everything else, if I remember going back, they were all above 10. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Chef DRL wants to have Dave tested, I guess, for PEDs.
Yes.
He says he demands a full investigation.
That's a good point, Chef. I like that. Anytime it happens in the NFL.
Right.
Dave did it with a water. He sat out the last week. He got -2 in the bowl 2. So either we missed his pick.
Oh.
No,
so
he didn't pick. I remember
82.5.
that. Yeah.
Okay, he went from 82.5. So if he had made a 2.5 pick, he would and got it right. He would have beat Twisted.
How about that?
That's crazy.
How about that?
That is crazy.
Well, Dan, we cannot thank you enough
That's right.
for all the hard work that you do to keep this thing going week in and week out, year in and year out. It's not quite a thankless job because we're doing it right now, but we cannot afford to pay you. I just want to let you know that now in advance. We can't afford to pay you.
Nope, I just do it for the love of the game. It's fun.
Well, you're the best, Dan.
Thanks,
the best.
Dan.
Appreciate you.
All right, you guys.
All right, real quick, we have time for Rick and Greer.
Yeah, let's get Rick on.
Rick and Greer, real quick before we get into an NFL game. What do you have on your mind today, Rick?
Well, I'm going to be positive today. You said I'm always negative. I'm positive that I'm going to put $500 because of what you said on the Carolina Panthers.
Are you not impressed by that, Rick?
I was very impressed with your knowledge and
research
what you came up with.
Right.
So, and number 2, I want to thank you for always running my commercial on your radio station. You don't know you run it, but you do.
Well, yeah.
Oh, is this the walrus thing?
Yes.
Wally the Walrus.
One more time, Rick.
Wally the Walrus here.
I thought you were Jimmy the Jackass.
I'm Wally the Walrus. Thank you for running my commercial.
Oh, God, that's
Thanks,
good.
Rick. Good to hear from
Appreciate
you, Rick. All right, let's do this, Cole. And again, you can check those standings, see where you finished overall. Just posted the graphic on our Twitter page at the Fan Upstate. Cole,
I'm not looking forward to this.
How well do you know? You're a hardcore NFL fan, right?
Yeah, but I'm terrible at trivia.
Okay. Hardcore, but this is not hard trivia.
You don't think so?
It shouldn't be hard trivia, but let's see. Let's see how well Cole Bryson knows the NFL. I got a little game show music here, Cole, if you don't mind.
All right.
Let's start, Cole, with this question. There are 7 NFL teams whose primary color is red. How many of them can you name?
Oh, God, I'm going to be so bad at this. 7 teams whose primary color is red.
Yep.
All right, going Chiefs.
Mhm.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
One of them?
Yep.
Falcons?
Yep.
Let's see. I'm going division by division here. NFC Buccaneers?
Yep.
All right, so I'm going division by division. I'm starting with the NFC South. Nobody else. I got the Falcons, got the Bucs. No Panthers.
I'm going to give you about 15 more seconds.
Commanders?
Yep.
So I'm at 4?
Yep.
All right.
3 more to go.
The Bills?
No, they're blue.
No, they're blue. They have a little red. Patriots?
No, they're
No,
blue.
but they have a little red. Primary. You said primary.
Primary.
Houston Texans?
Okay. And time's up.
Okay.
Time's up. So you got 5. The teams that you missed, Cole.
I missed 2.
You missed the Arizona Cardinals and the San Francisco 49ers.
That was quick. You didn't give me a lot of time.
I gave you like a minute and a half.
No, you did not give me a minute.
Yeah.
That was quick. That was 13 seconds. 13.
Oh, come on.
Okay, so Cardinals and Niners. Okay, I got you.
Yeah. So it was Texans, and the Texans are, they kind of have an asterisk because they're blue and red.
Yeah, that's true.
But it was Texans, Chiefs, Commanders, Falcons, Buccaneers, Cardinals, and 49ers.
Okay.
There you go. Okay, Cole, here we go. Question number 2, and I'm going to give you 15 seconds to get this one right because it should be fairly easy. In only one NFL logo does the primary figure look left. Who is it?
The primary figure looks left.
The character in the logo.
New England Patriots.
Almost all. Nope, not the Patriots. Almost all of them look right.
Oh, God. There's
Or
no
straight
way.
at
Or
you.
straight at you, right.
Which one looks left? 10 seconds.
Cardinals?
Nope. Cardinals looks right.
This is tough, man. Which looks left? I've never
5.
even thought of this. I'll go last guess. I'll go Eagles.
Buzzer. You got it at the
Did I?
buzzer. It's the Eagles.
The shot was
How
good.
about that?
The
Look
shot
at it.
was good. I
in
got
the
it
air.
off
The
in
buzzer
time.
went off.
Can we get a review on this? The
I'll give it
Eagle
to you.
looks left.
The Eagle looks left. All the other
That's
ones look right.
crazy.
Think about it. Ravens, Broncos. Who else
Yeah.
would be on this list that actually has a figure on their logo? They all Cardinals, Panthers, Jaguars.
I didn't think
They
about
all look
that.
right. Eagles is the only one that looks
Buzzer
left.
beater, baby.
Yeah, how about that?
Madcraft says your favorite team, by the way. No, Madcraft. No.
Cole, this one I'm going to give you 30 seconds to get this one, okay?
Okay.
5 teams have birds for mascots.
Oh, wow.
Can you name them all?
Cardinals, Eagles. God, this is what you and I talked about earlier. It's so easy, it becomes difficult. Cardinals, Eagles, Seahawks.
Uh-huh.
I'm missing 2. Cardinals, Eagles, Seahawks. Oh my God. Cardinals, the Eagles, the Seahawks,
5 seconds.
Oh my God. I give up. For whatever 3 are coming to mind. That's it.
Baltimore,
Ravens.
and the Atlanta Falcons.
You talked about this before we did this.
Yeah.
It's just sometimes so easy. You can't do it under pressure.
Okay, Cole, this one's a very easy question. Very easy question. Game show, how well does Cole know
Don't
the
say
NFL?
that, by the way. Don't preface with that.
True or false? There is a dog mascot in the NFL.
A dog.
Dog mascot.
Cleveland references themselves as the dog pound, but no, there's not a dog.
You are correct.
Right?
You are correct. There is no dog mascot,
God.
even though the Browns are always in a constant identity crisis.
You literally had me confused there, though. I was like,
how is that possible, though?
no bulldog,
Think about
right?
college football. There's bulldogs and
You've got
all over
Georgia,
place.
the Citadel.
Yeah,
You've
all
got
over the place.
what other
There's
dogs?
the Salukis.
Yeah,
That's a dog.
yeah.
The
Prairie dog.
The Great Danes. The Albany Great Danes.
You got a husky, kind of a dog.
Huskies. A lot of them.
Wow.
There's none in the
No
NFL.
in the
Isn't that crazy?
NFL. Okay.
All right, Colt. Last question here for you in the game show.
Oh boy.
So, since you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, the Dallas Cowboys could theoretically ride which mascots in the NFL? Like, put a saddle on them and ride them.
Oh, my word.
Yeah.
Which mascots could you ride? You can't ride a panther, I don't think. Can you?
Theoretically.
Could you?
I don't think it's going to go very well for you, but you
could get on. Okay, so you can get on a panther and ride a panther.
I'll preface this by saying I'm removing the metaphysical ones like the Giants, the Titans, and the Saints.
Sure.
Can't ride a Saint. That's sacrilegious.
You can't ride a 49. So
Nope.
you can ride a panther. You could ride a Seahawk, depending on how small you were. If you were
That's a
really
big bird. You're not going to ride a Seahawk.
You were
It's a big bird.
Okay, fair. Let's see. Texans, Jags, Chiefs, Patriot. Ooh, that one's tougher than I thought it would be. I'm just going through some of the division teams now. Commanders.
Can't ride a commander.
Can't ride an eagle, I guess. Can I ride an eagle?
Too big.
No.
You're too big. You can't. It'd never get off.
No, right.
What's the airspeed of an unladen swallow?
Giants. You can't ride a giant, right?
No, it's not
Ravens, Steelers, Browns. Oh, there's not many. I don't think there's many.
I have, and again, this is a very subjective.
I'm going to guess
I have
less
1,
than
2, 3,
5.
4, 5, 6, 7.
No.
8, 9. I have 10 that you could theoretically ride.
No.
Yeah, I have 10.
I'm missing that many.
Again, this is a trick question.
All right, let's hear it.
Bills, you could ride a buffalo.
Oh, I didn't think buffalo.
You can ride a dolphin. People do it all the time. You
Yeah,
go to those
that's
little
true.
encounters.
Yeah.
You could ride a Bengal tiger. Again, not going to go well for you.
Yeah.
You could ride a colt. You could ride a jaguar. You could ride a bronco. You could ride a lion.
Oh, God.
A panther. A ram.
Oh.
And here's the tricky one. Jets. You can ride a jet. You get on a plane, ride a jet.
I was terrible at that one.
I know.
That
That's
was
a hard one.
bad. By the way, Matt Crab says Cole's stuck in the NFC universe. I kind of was. That was tough, man. That last one was tricky. I was overthinking it, though. Which ones can you ride? How about that? I like that. That is really, really interesting. What I grade out at? 60, 50? I mean,
You did well. You did fairly well.
Enough not to be embarrassed, right?
Yeah, you did well.
Tolos, a big show still to come. We have John Whittle of the Big Spur coming up in the very next segment. Tolo Takeover at 5 o'clock. Frank Schwab, Yahoo Sports 520. Clemson, South Carolina portal update coming up at 6 o'clock on the show. And, man, there's a lot to get into with South Carolina, with Clemson. Tom Allen has been active in the portal in the last few days. A big show to come. However, we've got to run off to a break because John Whittle of the Big Spur will join us. He joins us every Thursday, by the way, and will join us to talk South Carolina basketball and more and more stuff every single week on the show.
Dan said, if you can ride a lion, then you can ride a bear.
Guess that's true.
Forgot that one.
Yeah.
I guess we blow the whole thing up.
Blow it up.
Wins. All right.
Blow it up. John Whittle, Big Spur next.
and Cole Bryson on the Fan Upstate.
Well, on Thursdays at this very time, each and every Thursday, we'll be joined by John Whittle of the Big Spur to talk Gamecocks on a variety of topics, different sports as well, not just centered on one sport. John's been on the program before many, many times, good friend of the show, and appreciate his time talking about what he does for the Big Spur and how you, Tolos out there in the Upstate, can find their work. And John, let's start with basketball. I want to know from you, somebody who covers this program of Lamont Paris in detail and good depth. We spend a lot of time with a football program talking about the fan base's pulse. Where's the fan base at? We know that the fan base, when it comes to football, is a little bit happier because of some off-season hires with Kendall Briles and others. But where would you say the fan base is on this 8th day of January regarding Lamont Paris's club?
Well, if you'd asked me 48 hours ago, the answer would be a little bit different than what it is now. South Carolina finally got a decent win, the other day on the road against LSU. So that is, I won't say put a bunch of enthusiasm in the fan base, but given a little bit more hope and optimism. There really wasn't a whole lot, the first couple months of the season. You beat the teams you're supposed to beat, which is a little bit of a step in the right direction. But South Carolina hadn't done that a whole lot every year. But they've also lost all their games against quality opponents. So it's been a team that has not really done well what they were expected to do well, which was shoot the basketball from behind the arc. That's one thing Lamont Paris wanted to really address in the offseason and thought he had, and it hadn't really come to fruition. But they shot the ball really well the other day against the Tigers, LSU Tigers. So maybe a little bit of optimism. The SEC isn't nearly as good this year as it was last year, and maybe they can string together a few wins.
Well, John, let's ditto that question, but in the phrasing of Jeremiah Donati.
Well, it's hard to give an autopsy on the season when you're 2 games into an 18-game SEC schedule. So, it's been disappointing so far, but there's still a lot of important games left to play. So, it's too early to really dive into that kind of conversation. So, it was a horribly disappointing year last year. The NIL funding was what was used as the blame, is the scapegoat for that season. The funds there to that program dramatically increased this all season. We'll see what happens with the results.
It's interesting you bring that up because, like John, in traditional recruiting before the days of NIL, it took a few years to build a roster, right? Especially in football. Now, basketball, you only have 5 guys on the court at the time, so you could do it a little bit quicker. But I want to kind of piggytail off of something you said there. They did get an increase to the NIL spend, right, going into this year. In your mind, is that an immediate fix, or is that something that still kind of has to take time?
Well, it's supposed to really jumpstart the process, and you don't really know whether it has or not with this team. Like I said, the results haven't been great so far, and you aren't really doing what you thought you would do well. So it brings in some skepticism. So, it's a good question, but for me, and this is probably another conversation for another day, but it just doesn't feel like you build programs right now in college athletics. You just build teams.
Yeah.
And, you go year to year with how the structure is at this point. And, it's great that Lamont Paris brought in 5 freshmen, and all of them seem like they've got a chance. 4 of them are in the rotation right now, and some of them are playing pretty darn well. But, how many of those 5 guys end up being seniors at South Carolina? 10 years ago, probably 4 of them do. This year, in this world that we live in, college sports world we live in, how many of those 5 guys make it 4 years at South Carolina? 1, 2? I just don't see it in college sports right now where you build programs, you build teams.
John, we all know that South Carolina was picked dead last in the preseason coaches poll. Currently, they're not dead last when you look at the net rankings, at least. Mississippi State has fallen below South Carolina, and they have moved up after that win against LSU. So how far above their weight class, essentially, do you believe this South Carolina team can punch? I mean, obviously, we're putting on our prediction pants, and there's a lot of games left to be played here, but where do you now project them to maybe finish?
Yeah, and it's hard. Like, the SEC basketball poll is notoriously bad anyway. You know, most of the SEC media is not paying a whole heck of a lot of attention to basketball in the middle of October when those votes are cast, right? So, you know, it's just I don't put a whole lot of stock into them, and especially right now when teams have so many new guys on their roster. I mean, there's more than just South Carolina that flipped almost their entire roster from last year to this year. So, you know, I say that to say I think we get a little bit better sense over the first couple of weeks of the confidence play, you know, just how teams are going to shake out. Now, I do think South Carolina, if they continue to shoot the ball well, I mean, they're not going to shoot 57% from three like they did the other day against LSU, but if they continue to shoot the ball pretty well from three, they have the potential to I would say not finish last. There's certainly probably a handful of teams that South Carolina can compete with, you know, pretty well. I would say both of the Mississippi schools for sure. Potentially in Oklahoma, potentially in Missouri. Texas has lost 6 games already. I mean, there's a handful, half a dozen teams that South Carolina can compete with pretty well, and I think that if South Carolina can shoot pretty well, they can win at least some. Whether it's enough to have any kind of postseason, I'm certainly not going that far, but they should be more competitive this year than last.
John, I want to go back to something you mentioned a few minutes ago with the three-point shooting, an area South Carolina was a little bit weak in last year. Obviously, you talked about the NIL spin being boosted going into the season, but I mean, just take the game against LSU and that win, for example. Meechie Johnson was good from behind the arc. Elijah Strong was good from three-point land as well. Eli Ellis, you know, not as many minutes, and I think he was 2 of 4 from behind three-point land. But who are the guys that, in your mind, from covering the team and being there in person, you feel like Lamont Paris has to get more from when it comes to three-point shooting?
Well, when it comes to three-point shooting, I say Eli Ellis for sure. I mean, going into that game the other night against LSU, he was 20.5% from behind the three-point line. And, you know, if there's one thing that we all thought from a tangible basketball standpoint that Eli Ellis would do well, it would be knock down some three-point shots.
Sure.
And, you know, if he's shooting 20.5%, like, I mean, I'd have thought he would have been doubled that. If you'd have told me Eli Ellis was 41% this time at this point of the season, I'd say, yep, that sounds exactly right to me. But he's at half of that. And, you know, it ticked up a little bit the other day. I think he went 2 for 4 from three the other day. And, you know, that's more of what we were kind of expecting out of him. But there's several guys who can up their percentage a little bit. Certainly Kobe Knox can. Miles Studi can a little bit. Mike Sharaf-Jumps, he can up it a little bit. Like, there's not really a guy on the roster who's shooting from three apart from Grant Polk, you know, kind of what you thought you would see from them.
Talking to John Whittle of the Big Spur. We'll get into some South Carolina recruiting stuff here over the next couple of minutes, John. But starting big picture here, is the fight that Washington is in right now, which apparently now has the full support of the Big Ten, a fight that you wish Shane Beamer, Jeremiah Donati, and co. would be fighting as well? Or do you kind of expect South Carolina, or maybe in general the SEC, to sort of take a wait and see what happens with this Damon Williams situation?
Well, I think if you're going to fight a battle, it better be a big one, like the one that's happening out in Washington. You know, I don't think you need to go to bat and try to litigate things over a backup linebacker or something like that. You better pick the right battle and you know, one that you feel like serves your best interest. And you know, I got no problem with Washington doing that. And, you know, I wish we could see some guardrails is certainly not the right word, but just see some like real change and real enforcement and some real rules and what should be, a basic barometer in college sports.
Hey, John, you one of your co-parts, Alex Jones, had a good piece with Bryant Williams, a portal target for South Carolina. What do you think the offensive line construction department is right now? Because that's what it is, and going from last year, right, and knowing that this offensive line needed improvement, then you have some guys leave and go into the portal, and now you're having to kind of rebuild that wall up front in a way. Where are you in your mind on the progress of this group up front?
Well, they're taking some steps right now in terms of, they've landed a couple of commitments so far, but, certainly still need to land more. You lost, I can't think it's 9 offensive linemen to the portal, maybe 7 scholarship guys, something along those lines. And you're going to have to sign at least a half a dozen, if not 7 offensive linemen in this portal class. You've got 2, both of them are interior guys. Need to sign a couple of tackles. Like it's a lot of work still to be done. They're trying to climb through and get some guys, and they have a couple of guys lined up right now coming in to visit. Seth Smith, you mentioned Bryant Williams is headed out on another visit after finishing up at South Carolina. I guess yesterday it was. All these days are running so close in mind. But Dane Arnett from Ferris State is one. The Pete kid from NC State is another that they're monitoring very closely and hoping to get in. So there's a lot that's going on, but at the same time, nothing's quite done yet on these offensive line targets. But there's still a lot of work to do, a whole lot of work to do.
John, kind of a follow-up question to that. I don't know if you have the answer, but I do think it's interesting from a fan standpoint, knowing how this works internally. When the portal opens and you can start to go get guys, would you equate it to kind of how a general manager does in the NFL draft, where they have a board and, they have this guy at the top, but if this guy goes earlier than they expected, then they fall down on their board to 2, 3, 4, and they kind of have some other guys in place in case they can't get who they want. Would you say it's a similar process with a portal, or am I kind of off on that?
No, in some ways you're right, but at the same time, in college sports, you got a heck of a lot more schools and a heck of a lot more players. So there's a heck of a lot more to sort through and things changing even more quickly. There's certainly a salary cap type deal in college sports, just like there is in the NFL, but it's a lot more flexible and the rules are just so different with college sports, and there's just so much greater quantity in terms of everything, and it's really fast moving too. So and then you got guys who say they're coming back and then change their mind. And good kids are still going into the portal. Good players are still going into the portal right now, even though it opened almost a week ago. So there's just, it's similar in some ways, but it's very different in some ways too, that make it a little bit more challenging, I feel like.
John, I think we're starting to round a corner of coaches getting a little bit bolder when they talk about their frustrations with the transfer portal. I think it was Fran Brown at Syracuse 2 weeks ago or so said, "Hey, we're just out here swapping twos." Yeah. So of the portal guys that South Carolina has already added, who are those guys that are legit ones? Do they have any guys that are legit ones that are coming in? Even if we were talking about a world where the offensive line was already pretty solidified, are they bringing in anybody that really can step up as being a one in the SEC, or are they kind of just supplying bodies at this point?
Well, with Carolina, they've got 5 commitments right now. 2 of them are offensive linemen. I think the closest to a true one that you have is probably Hank Purvis, who's a guard there on the offensive line. Got to see who else is added, but right now I would feel pretty good, like he's going to step into a starting position and can compete pretty well at this level. The guy who I would circle is again, there's only 5 guys so far, with one being a kicker. But if of the guys who have committed so far, who I would be most excited about, it would probably be Jordan Thomas, the defensive tackle out of Georgia, who, if you're a defensive lineman at Georgia and you're not playing, that doesn't mean a darn thing. There are a bunch of pretty darn good players on that defensive line, and they've got some backups. So they keep churning out guys who are top NFL draft picks at that position. And, so you're getting good coaching, you're getting good development, you're being around great players. I feel like he's the guy right now who I look at most as being kind of the one who I would be most excited about, but the one I would feel most confident in right now, saying like this is a starter, would probably be Hank Purvis, the offensive guard from Purdue.
Let me ask you this, my last question for you. One more note on the offensive line. I saw a note from Shed Surratt. Any other guys that you feel like stayed that were pivotal pieces going into the offseason and next year? Not really. Not really. I mean, I think Nolan Hayes got a chance to be good, who's a interior guy. He was hurt a lot this past season. But when he played, he typically played pretty well. So I would say him, if there's one more guy on the offensive line returning, that I would say. But Darius Gray and Zion Giles from the recruiting class, I think both of those guys have a chance to be really good. And, those two are ones that I feel like you really needed to get to campus, and you did. So not too many from from last year's roster, but a couple from the recruiting class who I circle and say, yeah, these are good guys to keep.
John, kind of looking off into the distance, but not too far off into the distance. South Carolina baseball about to get back into the swing of things, pun intended, here in the next couple of days or weeks. General outlook, general thoughts on where this season is going, and do you expect it to be a step up?
Well, you can't take a step back. That's for sure. So I do think it'll be at least a little bit of a step forward. I really don't know how much. I do feel pretty confident about the pitching staff, both in terms of depth and talent. I feel like that is certainly much better this year in a much better position. From a position player standpoint, I'm not quite as confident, both from an offensive standpoint and defensive standpoint. I think you lost some real dudes, and I don't know how many real dudes you brought in. So, if the question right now is whether South Carolina makes the NCAA tournament or not, I would lean towards probably yes, just on the strength of their pitching staff. But I'm not going to guarantee that this is an NCAA tournament team.
John, you are the best. Always appreciate your time, and we'll talk to you next week, man.
Absolutely. Sounds great. Appreciate you guys.
Absolutely. Thank you as well. John Whittle of the Big Spur. If you missed any of that, you can go back on the free Odyssey app. We're also live on iHeartRadio app as well. So good stuff there.
Tolos, if you haven't been keeping up with what's going on in the not college, but all sports world, we'll take our whip around our headlines, our daily wires next.
is Wire to Wire with Cole, Bryson, and Diesel on the Fan Upstate.
Well, the news, as always, Cole, comes in bunches. It comes at you fast, and it's easy to miss what else is going on out there. So we do a segment every day where we do a whip around of all the biggest stories in sports, and we call them our Daily Wires. The Buzz. We talked about this earlier. Clemson basketball very narrowly escaped an SMU comeback last night, but they won the game ultimately at Clemson 74-70. The Tigers are now 13-3 on the season, 3-0 in the ACC, and they have won 6 straight.
Big winners, man. And you know what? You said it earlier. I like they were tested down the stretch. Kind of having to gut it out. I think that'll pay dividends. But a big win.
The Wofford men's basketball team maintained its halftime lead to win over UNC Greensboro last night, 97-85 in Jerry Richardson Indoor Stadium. Wofford 11-5, so off to a good start as well. They were led by Kamari Holmes' 27 points, 4 other Terriers in double figures. Caden Vasco grabbed 9 rebounds, 11 points, 8 assists, and 3 steals. Narrowly missing out on a triple-double. Brian Sumter, Rex Sterling, they both had blocks. So a big day for the Wofford Terriers. Everybody across the board getting it done.
Yeah, big win. And in first year, Kevin Giltner, that team's still trying to piece things together.
Hey, there's a lot of teams that would take an 11-5 start in the first year of a new head coach, especially one that was thrust into the head coach role
a couple of months ago,
the season started. Yeah. Furman last night beat Chattanooga 78-67. You heard it right here on the Fan Upstate. They're off to 11-5 start as well, 2-1 in league play. Furman, kind of stumbled right out of the gate, but they have really turned it on over the past couple of weeks.
No doubt.
Furman getting hot. Former Florida Gators quarterback DJ Lagway has committed, and he will play at Baylor next year.
That's not true, is it?
It's got to be. You put it on the rundown.
You're telling me that he's going to Baylor? Mm-hmm. No offense to Baylor.
Hey, Baylor built a brand new stadium a couple of years ago.
This is the NIL era that we live in. Diesel, Baylor's not good.
No, but really, DJ Lagway is not very good either. He threw for 16 touchdowns and 14 interceptions last year at Florida.
That's still crazy.
Maybe Baylor's the right place for. Where do you want him to go? Alabama?
Yeah. Ole Miss.
Be a backup?
LSU.
We talked about this a lot yesterday, Cole, and we're going to bring up some of the updates in the 6 o'clock segment. But Damon Williams Jr.'s agent, Doug Hendrickson of Wasserman Football, has dropped Damon as a client. So he's, I guess, finding him too difficult to deal with.
Is that over then? I mean, is it over?
I don't know. This thing is going to continue to develop. There's a lot of misconceptions about what's going to happen, what has to happen, what does Damon have to do next year. We'll get into that coming up at 6 o'clock. As the number 1 seed, Indiana Hoosiers prepare to take on Oregon tomorrow night. Kurt Signetti was asked about his intensity on the sideline, and he said, quote, I love this guy. He goes, "There's a lot of times that I am happy. I just don't show that I'm happy." He said, if I'm going to ask my players to play the first play and the play number 150 the same, regardless of competitive circumstances, that I can't be seen on the sidelines high-fiving people and celebrating, or what's going to happen? What's the effect going to be? So that's why I am like I am during the game. I do smile, and I am happy at times.
So we got that from Saban, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it had to have.
Exactly. I love this guy. I really do. Buccaneers coach Todd Bowles is returning for the 2026 season. The Tampa Bay Times reported that yesterday, and that he said in a text to the newspaper that he would be returning as the coach.
I think so. I know it was a terrible year this year, though, Diesel, for Tampa Bay. They did have some key injuries, but next year I think will be a big year for Tampa.
The Atlanta Hawks are trading 4-time All-Star Trae Young to the Washington Wizards. They'll be getting C.J. McCollum and Corey Kispert in return. You're a much bigger NBA fan than I am. Is that a good trade?
I think it is, and I'll tell you why. I feel like it's been 3 years of us talking about Trae Young getting traded. It never seemed like that fit with him in Atlanta was going to work long term. So I think ultimately he needed some new scenery. He's still a good player, getting up there in age a little bit, but maybe some new scenery will be the best thing for him.
A little golf to talk about. World number one Scotty Scheffler will make his 2026 debut at the American Express Championship later this month in La Quinta, California. Not the hotel.
Is that the inn?
That's the city.
Gotcha.
That's the city. Scheffler's never won the Amex, but does have a third-place finish in 2020, as well as a pair of top 20s.
That's big time.
Yeah.
La Quinta Inn.
Not brought to you by La Quinta. It's just in La Quinta. The Kansas City Chiefs facing some off-field issues as wide receiver Rashee Rice's ex-girlfriend, Dakota Nicole Jones, posted allegations of abuse on social media. She said she shared pictures of injuries and damage, claiming that she had endured years of abuse, 8 years of abuse to be exact. While Jones did not name Rice in her post, the Chiefs acknowledged the allegations and stated they are in communication with the NFL.
Not good, Diesel.
No, not good. Former Dallas Cowboys star Jason Witten has been hired as the new tight ends coach for Oklahoma, the Sooners.
He was coaching high school football, I believe, last. So that's interesting.
Yeah. Some more bad news here, Cole, coming out of the NFL. Washington Commanders corner Marshawn Lattimore was arrested in Lakewood, Ohio on charges of carrying concealed weapons and improperly handling firearms in a motor vehicle. The arrest took place yesterday at around 6:15 p.m.
Yeah, you cannot do that.
And finally, what does that mean? Does that mean he just had it sitting on the seat or something? The Carolina Panthers will host the LA Rams on Saturday in the first game of the NFL Wild Card Weekend, and it's going to be a special one if you're an old school Panthers fan because Cam Newton is officially hitting the keep pounding drum.
Boom!
Yeah.
We need to keep pounding drum in here, don't we?
What is he going to do if he drops the mallet, though? Is he going to pick it up, or is he going to
jump on it? Nah, that's dirty, Diesel. That's dirty. That's really dirty.
I said in the stream earlier, Cam Newton will suit up and go score a touchdown for Carolina in the Wildcat. I will drop all my Cam Newton hate. But that's the only way. That's the ball was right there, and it was in the red zone, and he wouldn't jump on it.
Still salty.
Oh,
I love it.
You would be too.
I would be. There's no doubt. There's no doubt. Tolos, it is your opportunity to now take over these airwaves. And I did this segment alone last week because Diesel was on vacay. Now the two of us are back together. It's the first full Tolo takeover in a long time. If you're new to the show, it's your opportunity to take over these airwaves. We'll ask you a question to lead the segment as well in case you need a little sports question to run with. But you want to gripe, you want to complain, you want to talk about your great day, whatever it is you want to talk about, it's your segment. Tolo Takeover next. Well, it is now just 2.5 hours away from kickoff between Miami and Ole Miss. Tolos, Diesel and I want to hear what your prediction is, and you can make that your Tolo takeover. If you're driving around the upstate today thinking, man, I don't have anything to call the show with, well, bam, now you do. 844-326-3663. It is your segment, your opportunity to take over these airwaves. Whatever it is you want to talk about, we'll talk about it with you right here on the Fan Upstate. If you want to gripe, complain about us, I mean, Diesel, somebody somewhere is griping about something we're doing. It happens
they do
every
it
day.
all the time.
Right?
They
You
do it
can't
all the
make
time.
everybody happy.
I had a guy yesterday get mad in the first segment of the show.
Matt Kraft?
No, it wasn't Mad Kraft. It wasn't Dewey either. Mad that we didn't start the show with Clemson and South Carolina transfer portal news. Oh, great. They got the third string punter from UCF coming in. That's breaking news right out of the gate. Come on, guys.
Disappointed, huh? Very, very disappointed. It happens. We can't please everybody, but we can try our best. Tolos, 844-326-3663. We want to hear from you. Go ahead and get on the phone lines. Got a couple of spots open wherever you are, however you're listening. We appreciate you doing so, whether it's 97.1 FM in Spartanburg, 97.7 FM in Greenville. We have a new signal in Anderson. I don't know if it's switched over yet or not, but however you may be listening or watching the show, as 103 Tolos are doing right now on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, we want to hear from you. It's your segment. Diesel, let's go to Gator Bobby, who wants to start things off on the Tolo Takeover. Whatever you want to talk about, Gator Bobby, what is it that you want to say?
Yeah, I heard you talking about Lagway transferring out, and that's where his dad went to college, so that at least
okay.
It's fair.
I did not know
that. Are you heartbroken, Bobby, that you lost a 14 interception guy?
No, not particularly.
I'm with you.
But the main reason I was calling is it may have gotten missed since it was over the Christmas and New Year's holiday, but the new running backs coach at Florida is a Chesney High School graduate. So
yes, is it Foster, right?
Yes. Yeah, Chris Foster.
Chris Foster. That's what I thought. And you know what? I was actually with a coach during the break, and he told me about that. And thank you for bringing that up. Chris Foster of Chesney, and he is now the new running backs coach. Is that right?
It is, yes.
That is awesome. Are you Chesney guy, Chris? Or Bobby? Sorry.
Yeah. I played football with Chris.
Okay. Cool. Okay. That's awesome.
Many years ago.
And what he played at Chesney in what time frame? Do you know off the top of your head?
97 to 2001, somewhere in that range, or maybe 96 to 2000. I think it was maybe 2 years ahead of me.
That's awesome, man. That is awesome. Well, hey, Gator Bobby, good stuff. Always appreciate the phone call, and feel free to call anytime, okay?
All right.
844-FAN-PHONE, and we go from Gator Bobby to Tom in Somerville. Tom, what's on your mind, buddy?
Hey, guys. We got football tonight. Sorry, callers. I'm putting my seatbelt on now. I've been under the weather with the flu this week, but I am so ready. I'm so ready to go home and watch this game tonight. I finally got the couch moved, and we moved the couch.
How was it?
Pouring down rain, and it was cold, and then I'm sick for 4 days. So,
oh my gosh!
Yeah,
it was your wife's fault that you're sick.
I told her, I was like, the weather ain't gonna be the best, and of course, the only U-Haul they had was a 20-foot truck for a 6-foot couch. And so I'm driving this big old U-Haul down 26, and it's pouring down rain. I'm not feeling good. Finally get that daggum couch unloaded, and of course it gets wet because it's pouring down rain. I'm trying to get the thing off the truck, but I finally get it off the truck. It's in the house. It's dry. Everybody's happy. Glad I don't have to do that again.
Tom, have you ever heard of a tarp?
Well, the problem is we only had to carry the couch about 5 feet from the truck to the house, and I wasn't gonna worry about putting a tarp on the couch for 5 feet. It wasn't worth it.
Tom, your wife, she don't know how good she has it, does she?
That's right. That's right.
Is it at least a comfortable couch, Tom?
Oh, it's comfortable.
Okay.
I can't wait to get home and sit on it and eat some chicken wings and watch, Trinidad throw some dimes on Miami. Sorry, Mad Cat.
What's your prediction? Give us a score prediction, Tom.
I think it's going to be like 30, 35, 28, something like that. Is Ole Miss still the underdog? Because they're my upset pick of the week. Yeah. Even though it doesn't count, you can give me some early points for next year. Ole Miss is gonna win tonight, but Indiana's winning the national championship. They're playing at a whole nother level.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
Tom, what do you think? I don't know if you've seen these, but you can picture them for me if you've never actually seen them. These Miami Hurricanes Hey Dude shoes that Madcraft just bought a pair of. They're Hey Dudes. If you know what Hey Dudes look like, they're like orange around the heel, green across the cap with a little U, Miami U across the toe. Would you be caught dead wearing a pair of those?
Diesel, you wouldn't catch me dead wearing anything orange. Orange.
Even Miami orange.
Orange is orange.
The only orange Tom is going to wear is prison orange, and hopefully that never happens.
I've been very fortunate that hasn't happened yet. So I'm hoping it never happens. It'd be a surprise if it happens.
I could see you.
This is a collect call from
saying, "Hey Warden, you got anything that's not orange? Because I can't wear this."
Or, "Hey Warden, can we use collect calls for me to call the radio station up in Greenville, please?"
Hey, if I'm ever in prison and I only get one call a day, my call every day is going to be to the Fan Upstate.
Yes,
I am a Tolo.
I love it.
I love it, man. That is going on a pro. Tom, you are just a promo machine. You realize that?
I don't want to know where you're going to have to hide that radio, Tom.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey, you don't want answers to questions that don't want to be asked either, okay?
Oh, man.
Appreciate you, Tom.
Oh, that's good. Always a good time with Tom in Somerville. I don't know, man. Somerville must not have any quality sports radio. But
we just had JB on the stream says we need a call with Tom and Dewey together. That would be a promo for sure.
It would be.
Guess what? We have a call with Tom and Dewey together.
Yeah, that's right.
Remember? Hey, Tom. Hey, Dewey.
That's right.
Yeah.
You're right. We didn't make that a promo.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to one of the resident Miami Hurricane fans on Tolo Takeover. By the way, Tolos, if you just got in the car, 844-326-3663. We want to hear from you. It's your segment, and Madcraft is up next.
Well, hey, first off, I was listening earlier today, and y'all ran a promo with Tom, and my father was in the car. And my father looked at me and he said, "Hey, that's one of them fellas that thinks he needs to yell into the phone because he's so far away from you that he needs to be audible."
Yes, that's
so
correct.
I just wanted to, he also started his story about how he had to move this couch that wound up being 5 feet, but he started it with the old story of, I had to go 5 miles uphill in the snow,
right,
pouring rain and sleet. Right. So they just shame on him.
Never let the truth get in the way of a good story, Madcraft.
That's right.
But that is true. You have to exaggerate to the extreme if you're Tom. I bring facts to the table though when I talk.
Oh, okay.
And I just want to say something here. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's a key. Yeah. Here's a key factor. Key factor that I think is important. Miami's pressure rate on quarterbacks this season, 40.5%. It's insanity. It's insanity. Ole Miss hasn't seen that. Now, I'm not saying that that's like a end-all, be-all, but I'm saying their offense is not going to function the way that they've seen it right? They're going to have to change.
Okay.
And I'm anticipating that. But I'm also anticipating us changing as well. And I also want to point out that 40.5%, that rate is most of the time achieved just rushing 4. Okay? We can drop everybody else. And get home. And also there's this other myth that's going around. A lot of talking heads are saying Miami rotates on the defensive line. Don't let anybody tell you that we don't. That's nonsense. We absolutely do rotate when needed, of course. But most of the time, if our defensive line is eating like they normally do, then you let them stay in as long as they're comfortable.
Yeah. So are you going to give us a prediction?
Yeah, but it's actually, believe it or not, it's the exact same as yours, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
You copied mine
again.
Mine was
well. See,
28-24.
He doesn't know your pick. Sounds like you're trying to set up to copy him.
28-24.
28-24 was mine. That's right.
Yeah, that's what I had put actually last night. I think I sent that to you in a message.
No, you didn't.
You didn't.
Look at you trying to take credit.
No, you didn't.
Preemptively.
No, that was my pick, though. For real.
I like that.
But when I did hear you say it earlier, and I was like, hey, right on.
We're on the same sheet of music right there.
Yeah, absolutely. But hey, I'm gonna let y'all get to somebody else. But hey, keep your phones open.
Oh, yeah, and you too, just in case y'all lose. You too.
That's not really how phones work anymore. They're all, bricks. They're all squares.
Keep your phone open.
There's no opening phones around here.
Keep your phone open, says Matt Kraft. All right, let's go next on the Tolo Takeover. Kevin, what's up, Kevin?
First of all, I don't know why you guys are bringing up Hey Dudes. They're ugly and they make my feet hurt. Whether they're orange or blue, I would not wear them.
Wait, so you wear them?
And
how do you know they make your feet hurt if you haven't worn them?
They're horrible.
Okay.
I tried them.
Okay.
They hurt my feet.
Kevin,
really
let me tell you this. Here's where I am on Hey Dudes. I don't love the way they look. I don't. However, I don't know if you know this or not. There is a tennis shoe style of Hey Dude that I like. I have 2 pair. I wear it all the time. It looks like tennis shoes. If you're watching the stream, I'm literally holding it up on the stream.
I wouldn't know that those are Hey Dudes. They don't look like,
but they're great.
Okay.
They're so comfortable. You see, look now.
Pretty soon he's going to start telling us the Yeezys are comfortable too.
Well, Hey Dudes are pretty inexpensive and there's no strings. I don't have to tie my shoe, Kevin. So it, for
perfect for flying.
Right. For an idiot like me, I like it.
Were really inexpensive. Now they're $80 shoes.
Who?
Chucks.
Oh, and they're uncomfortable too.
Yeah,
I never wore them.
I don't wear those either. But they make something to make your shoelaces elastic, so you don't have to tie any shoe now.
Oh wow, I need that. I really do. So you're a Hey Dude hater.
I really to call in.
Yeah. What else?
Yes. Big Ten's going to win it again this year, like they did last year and the year before. It's just coming to show you that the Big Ten is more dominant than the SEC.
Wow. All right.
Hey, once is an occurrence, twice is a coincidence, 3 times is a pattern. And if they can get 3 in a row, then Paul Feinbaum has to move out of the United States. He said he was going to do it.
No way. Are you serious?
He said he was going to do it if the SEC
I didn't know that.
doesn't win a national championship.
I did not know that. Kevin, correct me if I'm wrong. You're a Michigan guy, right?
All the way through.
All the way through. Look, here's where I am. I will admit to you, Diesel and the Tolos, I didn't think the Big Ten was going to win it all again this year. I didn't. If they do, I will have some crow to eat, and I will definitely eat the crow, however you want to serve it, because, I still do believe the SEC is a deeper conference, but it looks like what you're saying might be right, that the best teams are in the Big Ten.
I will completely agree with you on that one.
What's your name?
Good call, Kevin.
The SEC is deeper.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Take it easy.
Good to hear
Thanks,
from you, Kevin.
Appreciate you, man. All right, 844-326-3663. The one, the only Dewey. What's up, Dewey?
Oh, I got a couple of things I need to discuss.
Okay.
First of all, Matt Kraft, Miami's going down tonight. You need to realize that, and you need to accept that fact. And Carson Beck's going to throw 3 interceptions, and he's going to be thrown out of the game. And you need to accept that. It's going to be 28-10 or 14. I don't know what I said earlier, but Ole Miss is going to win. And Mathcraft, you need to be ready for the excuses tomorrow.
Why do I get strong Frank Costanza vibes from Dewey? It's time for the airing of grievances. I got a lot of problems with you people.
What's wrong, Dewey? Are you having a bad day?
I always have a bad day.
Oh.
Secondly, Christmas was 2 weeks ago. Why on earth am I still going through the neighborhoods and I still see people's houses with Christmas lights? I see everyone's houses with Christmas lights and Christmas trees. Christmas is over. What I'm about to do is go to someone's yard and cut people's lights off. Because Christmas is over. Today's January the 8th. You got Chris Justice running around still telling people it's going to snow.
That's true, by the way.
It's not going to snow. January 6th came, I believe it was like 80 degrees January 6th or yesterday. I was in my Speedo yesterday. It was hot yesterday. And then today was hot too. And then people with the Christmas lights. And I'm still hearing Christmas music. Christmas is over. Bug humbug. Hoodly hoo. It's over.
I do think, Dewey, let me tell you this real quick. I do think I'm with you on this meteorologist thing. Diesel, it's like every day somebody else, and I'm not just picking at Chris Justice like Dewey does.
Class.
One class that I did online. It is like the biggest scam. I think meteorology is the biggest scam there is. I really do. Like they have what is their job? They tell us when it's going to rain. But I mean, I think it's a scam. It's all clickbait. That's all it's become. All they do is post on Facebook. Oh, it thundered yesterday, which means it's going to snow in 2 weeks from now.
I was getting severe weather warnings on my phone yesterday for 70 degrees and sunny.
Yeah.
Because 70 and sunny is quote unquote out of the norm for this time of year.
Yeah. I think it's a scam. I just don't think there's anything that is completely, if you think that's disrespectful, that's fine.
Yeah, but how do they profit?
Well, I think the social media, I think they can profit through that, right? Through the clicks, engagements, and earnings.
Media people, and then the station manager pays them. And it's like WIFF, they need ratings, so they tell Chris Justice to spread lies, and he spread lies, and then all of a sudden everyone's watching the lady on the news talking about ducks crossing the road because they need someone to watch the beginning of the news instead of the middle of the news.
Oh, Dewey, you're the best.
Dan B says, things I did not need to picture.
No.
Dewey in a Speedo. Well, sir, this is a bank. Why are you wearing a Speedo?
Yeah. Dewey, by the way, who wins? Oh, he's hung up already. Thanks, Dewey. Appreciate that. Really good stuff.
We didn't even get to our takeovers.
No, we didn't.
One of these days.
One of these days. That was incredible.
When we come back, yesterday we had a phenomenal conversation. We didn't have the opportunity to bring it back to you, so we're going to do it in the next segment. We chatted with Frank Schwab of Yahoo Sports. He's an NFL and betting expert. A great guest. Hopefully we can get him on regularly. He was that good.
He was good, man.
If you missed it, we'll bring it back to you next. What are the chances the Carolina Panthers get a dub against the Rams on Saturday? Frank gives us his inside scoop next.
FM Spartanburg.
Listen on your phone, download the Odyssey app, and search The Fan Upstate.
There's a whole lot more to know about sound if you really want to go into the subject.
Your smart speaker. Just say play 97 The Fan Upstate on your HD radio at WFBC HD3.
Oh, there's just one more thing.
And on your computer at
TheFanUpstate.com. The ball's in your court. Sound off now at 844-FAN-PHONE.
This is Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson on the Fan Upstate.
Well, let's talk a little NFL and maybe some sports betting as well with the expert of Yahoo Sports, Frank Schwab. Frank, good to have you on the show, man. Appreciate you joining us on 97.1 FM in Spartanburg, 97.7 FM Greenville on the Odyssey and iHeartRadio apps. How the heck are you, sir?
Doing well. How about you?
Doing well. Appreciate your time. And let's talk a little NFL, man. A big weekend ahead. Let's start locally with the Carolina Panthers, man. We'll spend a few minutes on the local team just up 85, just up north a little ways. Carolina, I don't know if this is fair, backdoored their way into the postseason thanks to some help over the weekend. Do you view this as just that, them backdooring their way in, and this is probably going to be it? Or does anybody out there, any of the experts in your mind, especially you, give Carolina any chance whatsoever to actually make a run in the postseason?
A run? No. Can they win a game? I mean, I can't. Anybody who says they have no chance forgets that, 6 weeks ago, the Panthers did beat them. Yeah, I don't think Matthew Stafford's throwing three crippling, interceptions, or three crippling turnovers. I guess it was a fumble and two interceptions. I don't think that's happening again. But the Panthers aren't going to be scared. They're not going to be intimidated. They're not going to. I don't think they're going to go into this game saying, "Well, we can't win," because they know they just beat this team. They put up 31 points on them. So I think that's what gives Carolina a chance now. And, everybody talks about, fifth losing team ever to make the playoffs. And, I mean, of the first four, two of them won their first game. And of the and people have maybe heard the stat that the Panthers had the fourth worst point differential among playoff teams of all time. The first three, the three teams worse than them, all won in wild card weekend. We do this all the time when somebody backdoored, and they did. They backdoored their way into a playoff. I'll talk about that in a second. But we do this all the time when somebody kind of backdoors their way in, and they're not very good. And, they may have had a losing record or a bad point differential, but the NFL's hard. There's no James Madison in the NFL playoffs. They're just not. These teams are all good. It's hard to beat NFL competition. So I can't give the Panthers no chance. I'm not picking them or anything, but and you know what? The Panthers, even if they lose, who cares? I would have had a different tone about the Buccaneers making the playoffs at 8-9. I think they had a horribly disappointing season. Yeah. For the Panthers, this has been really, really good for them. And I hope their fans are celebrating it and saying, hey, this was a step forward. It's not being 8-9 and winning the worst division of football is not ultimately where we want to be, but this was a pretty good season. It's one worth celebrating. With what was it, 5-6 double-digit loss seasons in a row. I don't think they've been to the playoffs since Super Bowl 50, maybe once, and they haven't won it. Whatever, you guys know the stats better than me, but it's been a rough road for the Panthers. So for them to beat the Packers, beat the Rams, make the playoffs, I think it's been a success for them, regardless of what people might say about their record and their point differential.
Frank, it's Diesel here. We had a listener call the show late yesterday, claimed to have put down $2,500 on a 3-1 long shot odd for the Panthers to make the playoffs, which they obviously did. Yeah. Get in your time machine. If you could go back and be his advisor at the time, would you have tried to talk our listener out of putting $2,500 on the Panthers to make the playoffs? And is there a long shot bet that you remember hitting on recently?
I did have. I would not have advised that. No, I would have said it. Yeah, no, don't think that's going to cash. I'm sorry. I do remember. What was it? It had to be 4 or 5 years ago. I'm sitting here watching an early August baseball game. Phillies are playing. Bryce Harper crushes a homer, and the announcers just start gushing about him. And it is a midday Wednesday where they're playing the Marlins or something. And I'm like,
wonder what Bryce Young's MVP odds are, or Bryce Harper. Sorry, Bryce Harper. I'm on with you guys, so I say Bryce Young. Bryce Harper's MVP odds are, and I look it up. I said it's 66-1 for Bryce Harper, one of the biggest stars of Major League Baseball, to win MVP on a major media market team that's going to talk about him all September if he gets hot. Like, let me put some pizza money on that. So that was the one I remember best as far as long shots go.
Where are you, Frank, on Bryce Young? Before we move off of Carolina and look at the rest of Wild Card Weekend, Diesel and I have had this conversation many, many times, and will, I guess, until we're blue in the face when it comes to Bryce Young. But there are some split fans within the fan base, I guess, with the Bryce Young leading the charge campaign in Charlotte. I feel like a lot of the fans love Bryce Young, want him to be good, but I also think those same fans recognize that he's just not the guy. He has been good at times this year. He's also been bad at times this year. It's been very much like a roller coaster. Where are you on Bryce Young? Have you seen enough this year, 2025, to say confidently that he is the guy of the future?
I don't think so, to be honest. I just – and my problem with it is, what's the upside? Can you ever imagine Bryce Young – I'm going to get the Bryce thing wrong the rest of the time now. Can you imagine Bryce Young getting MVP votes in his career? I can't. I just don't think he has that upside. Now, can he be a perfectly solid quarterback who's not going to lose you games and has some spike weeks like he definitely has had? And if you put a really good team around him, can you win a lot of games? I mean, I don't think Sam Darnold's a top 15 quarterback, but Sam Darnold's won a ton of games the last 2 years because he's been in really good situations. That's okay. It's okay to be in that tier of guys, and Bryce Young to be in that tier, but I don't see him being in that echelon of, hey, I'm going to put the team on my back and carry us to a 14-3 record. I mean, Cam Newton was in that tier. I love Cam Newton. He was one of my favorite players, actually, of all time. I love Cam. I don't see Bryce being that guy. There's too many weeks where he throws for 54 yards against the Seahawks where you're like, I don't know if this is really the guy who they signed up for. I mean, I watch, Drake May play and Caleb Williams. I'm like, yeah, those guys got that upside. I don't see that out of Bryce. Now, if that's what you're settling for, that it is fine, and it's hard. What are the Panthers going to do? They're not going to cut him. They need to see this thing through. I mean, it's not like you could go in a different direction or anything. So I think that you got to see where the Bryce Young story goes, and maybe he does just continue to improve. He did in college and all that kind of stuff. So maybe he just continues to improve and becomes that guy. We've seen Baker Mayfield improve. We've seen Darnold, Geno Smith. We all know those stories. So maybe it's too early to kind of cast what Bryce Young's going to be in his career. But as I sit here now, I just watch him and I say, yeah, he's fine. Like he's not actively just, you got to bench this guy tomorrow like Zach Wilson was with the Jets or anything. But I'm also like, I don't think this guy's ever going to be like a true bona fide top 10 quarterback.
Well, could I interest you in Tua Tagovailoa? He said he would be interested in something new. I mean, maybe Dave Canales thinks I can fix him. What are the lines around Tua and where he might go?
Tua is really interesting. I feel bad for Tua. I really do, because if you look at his numbers, and I always hate to be like, well, this concussion, because it's tough to talk about concussions that way. But if you look at his numbers before that concussion against the Bills, I think it was week 2 in the 2024 season. The numbers before that and after that, he literally became a completely different quarterback. Maybe it's coincidence, I don't know, but I think it's also easy to say like that was the injury that really turned his career in a bad way. And I feel he seems like a really, really likable guy. And I've actually stuck up for Tua when people would trash him, saying, you know what, this guy's pretty good. He led the NFL in passing yards. He's not as bad as you say he is, but he has been that bad the last couple of years. And I just don't see that. I don't really see it turning around for him, to be honest. Like, I don't know where his next is for him. Now, one team that kind of stands out to me maybe is the Steelers, because I don't think Aaron Rodgers comes back. Maybe he does. He's left the door open, which was kind of the first time he's done that a couple of weeks ago. But at 42, I mean, he got a division title. You kind of ride off on that. I think that's a perfectly good ending for Aaron, and I think he retires, and then Steelers aren't in a position to draft anybody who's going to be a plug-and-play starter. You kind of got to go get another veteran. Why not Tua? And that's a good spot for Tua to kind of reinvigorate his career. So, but it's hard. I don't know Tua is definitely a starter next year. I mean, you look around and you say, okay, yeah, the Raiders are going to draft somebody who's going to start for them. And any of the Jets, I don't know that they want to get in the Tua business. So it's just it's kind of a sad story because I really did enjoy Tua's peak. It just didn't really last that long either.
Talking to Frank Schwab, NFL and sports betting for Yahoo Sports. You can give him a follow on Twitter, on X at Yahoo Schwab. Kind of keeping it local again here, Frank. Trevor Lawrence, a Clemson guy. A lot of people in our audience are Jags fans just because of Trevor Lawrence. And, man, it's really interesting. You mentioned a minute ago there's no JMU in these playoffs. And congratulations, Jacksonville. You went 13-4. And because you did so, you are going to be gifted with Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills in the first round of the playoffs. Do you feel like this is a good matchup in any sense I know the Jacksonville's a really good team. A lot of people aren't talking about them, Frank. They've kind of flown under the radar this year. This is a Buffalo Bills team that has holes, there's no doubt. But at the end of the day, I think a lot of people are scared just because of Josh Allen and what he can do. Is that fair?
And I completely get it. Look, Josh Allen's the best he's the best player in the playoffs. Well, he is. And facing that guy is no treat. And he could put the team on his back and have another 6-touchdown day. We all know that. But I think the Jaguars are a better team. I really do. I look at this Bills team, and I'm like, what we haven't talked about enough is the Bills have kind of failed Josh Allen. He has nobody to throw to. James Cook is a very good running back, obviously, won the rushing title. But their defense has not been very good. This is a team that got blown out by the Falcons and the Dolphins this year. I just have not been impressed with the Bills. Now, could Josh Allen carry them to a Super Bowl? Sure, of course. Well, when you got the best player at the most important position, I'm not writing you off by any means. But I just sit here and say, I'm not impressed with the Bills. And meanwhile, Jacksonville just keeps getting better and better and better. And you talk about Trevor. I had given up on Trevor. I'll be honest. I tried the whole, this is the year, this is the year, this is the year. And finally, I just said, nope, I'm done. I can't do this again. Misses too many passes. He's just a guy. It's never going to turn on for him. And I didn't even think early in the season it was either. I thought that he was really not comfortable in Liam Cohen's offense. But about their bye week, going back, you talked about what I would advise somebody on the Panthers and that. I wish somebody would have advised me when they beat the absolute heck out of the Chargers. I think it was 35-6. It was right after their bye. And I just chalked it up as Chargers, East Coast game, early, flat spot, whatever. I didn't really take it seriously. No. That was the Jaguars telling us, we're good. We're coming. We're getting a lot better. And ever since that, Trevor's just been a completely different quarterback than really at any other time in his career. He had that stretch, I think it was his second year, about 7-8 games where he looked really good, actually. And then he regressed after that. This is the best I've ever seen Trevor play. He is confident. He knows where he's going with the ball. He did it all without Travis Hunter, which actually might have helped them. They weren't trying to force Travis Hunter into the offense to figure out what he was. He just went and played. And I think Liam Cohen's system just clicked with him. And that's another reason I like the Jaguars. I like the Jaguars on Sunday. I just think that they're playing better. And, we talk about Josh Allen, and clearly he's the best. He's the best quarterback in the field right now, maybe the best quarterback in football. Trevor Lawrence ain't far behind. As crazy as that sounds for somebody who admittedly gave up on Trevor Lawrence, Trevor Lawrence accounted for 38 touchdowns this year. He had a really, really good year. He gives them a chance to win. And he gives them a chance to win a Super Bowl. I can't sit here and tell you the Jaguars can't win a Super Bowl. They absolutely can. They're that good.
Frank, in your time working around sports betting, do you tend to go more down the avenues of the more legitimate mainstream avenues like outcomes or props, or do you kind of go into the more exotic, I can't believe there's a line on this kind of stuff?
I rarely delve into that. I'm kind of I'm an old man, I guess, because I just like sides and totals. And that's what I go with most of the time. The people who can grind on the props, I give them total credit because I know there's a winnable market there. I just don't have the time for it. The people who, can tell you like Bashan Tutin's rushing attempts is way off. Like my model has him at 15 and the book only has him at 9.5. I just honestly don't have the time to do that. So I'm more of an old school, just meat and potatoes. Give me the Jaguars +1 and I'm a happy guy.
Well, the reason I asked you that question is I wanted to get your thoughts around, because I'm sure it's out there, right? If anybody's thought of it, it is out there and available to bet on. NIL Absolutely. Payments, potential contracts. Where do you see the future of college sports and employment, whatever that means for student athletes? And have you heard that there are lines out there on this? Because there has to be, right?
I have not in Colorado, at least where I'm at, but there probably are. Some of the offshores have everything. So You know what? College sports is. I kind of weep for the way that this nobody. I don't think there's literally anybody out there who would say the product is better now than it was 10 years ago. It's just not. Like this is not fun. I'm a Wisconsin alum, and I watch my teams just change over from year to year. We have a terrible coach too, but that's a different story. And it's just like I don't have any connection to these guys anymore. I love watching J.J. Watt, Jonathan Taylor, because I'm like, these guys were there for 3-4 years. They became stars at Wisconsin. Now it's like you're there for a year and you're gone, and now I'm starting over with a whole – and nobody likes that. But I also just kind of throw up my hands and say the NCAA did this. The colleges did this. Maybe not the NCAA specifically, but the colleges spent so much effort and time and energy on we are never going to pay any players any money. We're gonna build $28 million locker rooms, but we're never going to pay the players a penny, when they could have 10 years ago said, all right, we see where this is going. Let's sit down and figure out how we pay the players and have, multi-year deals, whatever it is. They could have gotten themselves out of this. Instead, they just kept fighting it until finally the dam broke and they had no idea what to do. I don't have any pity for the colleges. I don't. When they sit here and cry about, oh, this system is broken, you brought this on yourselves. That ain't our problem. That's your problem. I look at Rutgers being in the Big Ten, and I'm like, you guys brought this on yourselves by being so greedy. Like this has been a long time in coming, and I just think that I blame the schools completely, 100%. They screwed this up. And I don't know that they can fix it either. I think this model is just really weird and broken.
No doubt. Frank, my last question for you. 49ers, Eagles on Sunday afternoon. Philadelphia favored by 4.5. Should be a good game. But I want to know from your standpoint, because I watched that game Saturday night between San Francisco and Seattle. San Francisco looked like a completely different team than what we were used to seeing this season.
Yeah.
Any panic in your mind from what you saw or the lack of offense that you didn't see from San Francisco on Saturday night?
Not really offense. I think our offense is going to be fine. I just think Seattle's really, really good and really well coached. That's a really good football team. Like we've been saying all year, there's no great team. Well, the Seahawks are 14-3 and 3 losses came by 9 combined points. Like that's a good football team right there. So I didn't really. It's not a panic thing because I've always thought the 49ers were a little bit of house of cards. I think Kyle Shanahan's coach of the year. I don't think there should be any question about it because what they did through all their injuries absolutely blows my mind. That team had no business playing for the number 1 seed on the final week of the season. None. You look at all the guys they had lost this season, especially defensively. And I don't panic offensively. I panic defensively more than anything because Seattle just did what they wanted, really. They didn't score a lot of points, but they just ran it up and down the field on them. And what's Saquon Barkley going to do? And now, not only Fred Warner and Nick Bosa are out, but Warner's replacement, Tatum Bethune, is out too. He was having a good season. There's just a critical mass you reach when they don't have the horses to compete. And not that I've been really impressed with the Eagles, but I don't see how the 49ers win, other than they're going to have the best coach in the game because they have the best coach in the league. Like that's the one thing that I can kind of say maybe that drags them through. But man, the 49ers had a really, really good season, but you can kind of see how this would end for them because just, again, you deal with as many injuries as they've had to star players, future Hall of Fame type players. It's just you can't keep that up, even with as good as Kyle Shanahan's been all year.
Frank, I do not apologize in advance if this triggers you because I caught your hit with Jason Fitz, and I know what this question does to you. But most likely to be traded, Dak Prescott or Giannis? Because Cole is a diehard Cowboys fan, and he said yesterday, I want to see Dak go somewhere else and flourish. I think a lot of us do.
I couldn't believe, honestly, this quote did not, because we just got right into the firings and the playoffs and all that. Dak's quote after week 18, he came out and said, first time in my career I can remember our win-loss record not correlating at all with my stats. Basically just saying, you guys failed me. Go back and look at that quote. I could not believe he said that. He was right. And I say good on him. Good on you, Dak. Like, you were let down by your defense because you played well enough for that team probably to win the division, and the defense was just so bad. But Dak's not getting traded. Giannis will get traded. Look, I'm a diehard Milwaukee Bucks fan, born in Milwaukee, 2021. I can tell you exactly where I was for Game 6. All that kind of stuff. Giannis will get traded, but I will say this for everybody out there who hasn't heard my rant about this yet. The NBA media has been getting this wrong for 9 years. 9 years ago, Giannis won Most Improved Player, and that's when it started. Giannis can never stay in Milwaukee. Who would want to play in Milwaukee? He's got to go to New York or Miami or Golden State. And they've been wrong for 9 straight years. 9 straight years every day I hear, Giannis, he said this. That must mean he's got to go to New York. 9 years. I'd be ashamed of myself if I was saying something for 9 years and being wrong every day. If I was saying Patrick Mahomes can't possibly like Kansas City, he's got to get traded to New York, and I was wrong every day for 9 years, I'd probably walk it back a little bit. But these guys just keep going full steam ahead, and eventually they're going to be right, and there should be no victory laps when Giannis eventually gets traded. None. I don't want to see any victory laps. I will spend my whole day just dunking on people who do victory laps over, see, I told you Giannis was going to get traded. Yeah, you told me in 2016. What good was that?
Frank, you're the best, man. So much appreciate your time. Great stuff, and let's do it again soon.
Absolutely. I appreciate you guys.
Thanks, Frank.
Absolutely. Frank Schwab, really good stuff there.
Always streaming on the free Odyssey app. Search The Fan Upstate. And you're wired to Diesel and Cole Bryson on Wire to Wire.
On the Fan Upstate.
I'm Chuck Sanders. Here's the Sports Flash presented by Progressive. This Saturday's Panthers-Rams wildcard game in Charlotte is quickly approaching. It's a 4:30 Eastern kick at Wednesday's practice for L.A. Devontae Adams a full participant, so is Quentin Lake. Kevin Dotson, Terrence Ferguson, Jordan Whittington, and Josh Wallace remain out. Head coach Sean McVay says he expects Ferguson will be able to play. The Panthers only had one player miss practice. Derek Brown got a veteran rest day. Everyone else on the 53-man roster of full participants.
Well, a lot of times, Diesel, I, and fans question play calling. We don't like when teams just run it up the middle. We don't like the screen left. We don't like the screen right. We don't like Dave Canales. His play calling, right? It can be bad. It was really, really bad last weekend, by the way. Hopefully it's not bad Saturday. But this audio from Mike Bobo, who we know, former Gamecock, might shed a light, might change your mind. Are you willing to have your mind changed today, Diesel?
I'm a roast. Baste me.
Well, with that being said, here was Mike Bobo of Georgia. Why he runs screenplays.
We're going to run Josh McCray, B gap. He picks up 2 yards. And they're like, damn it, Mike, why'd you do that?
Well, one is to set up things, and two, when we run that guy through the B gap in the fourth quarter, they're not going to want to tackle him. I did get some because it's a screen down, but the next drive is 3rd and 7, and we pump a screen and go, and it's a touchdown. So there's reasons why you do everything. Sometimes.
Oops.
Yeah, like people complain about screens. And I'm like,
sometimes a lot of runs are just runs to set up a shot off of that run. This run is, so there's always reasons why you're doing things. You run, sometimes running the ball early is not as effective as it's going to be late because you were, you stuck with the run. You have to stick with what you believe in to be able to do what you want to do at crucial points of games in the fourth quarter.
So, a lot of times, Diesel, we question coaches for why they do this, why they do that. I heard that audio and I thought to myself, you know what? It does make sense. And sometimes I think I'm even guilty of questioning this or that, right? And these offensive coordinators, they get paid a lot of money to make these decisions, and there's a reason they're running it up the middle.
It's in one of our bumper pieces of audio. So if you work at a 7-Eleven and you think you know better than coaches making 100 times your salary, you're listening to the right show.
Yeah, that's us. That's what we do.
People will see it's very, 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 very easy to say those two little words, play calling.
Mm-hmm.
It's very easy to say, play calling stinks. But like, what did you see, Mr. Sideline, armchair coach who has 40 years in the business? What did you see out of that Ole Miss defensive line that you think would have been a better option? Also, I want you to look at that through the lens of what had been set up over the course of the game, what was working, what wasn't working. Like, what would you have done differently?
Yeah.
They don't have an answer for that question.
No,
it's always
true.
just play calling. I didn't like it. Play calling sucks.
A quick audio or a quick coaching update, some audio from Pete Golding on the assistant coaches.
So, obviously, John Garrison, we have our offensive line coach that we've had all year, right? We have our running back coach, Kevin Smith, that we've had all year. We have our offensive coordinator who calls the plays. Right here, and he's been here all year. Joe Cox is not here, and George McDonald is not here, right? Receivers and tight ends. And that's been something that's coming the whole time, right? There's been constant communication. They have another job that is paying them, and they have a responsibility. And at this time, the way the calendar is now, and I wasn't going to get into this, they have 35 guys that are in the portal. They have to build a team. So obviously, do they want to be here? You're damn right they do. Right. But again, I mean, the situation that it is, right, they've got a job to do and they've got to build a team where they're at. And where their window is right now, we've made it when it's in the semifinals of the national championship. But we could take a 2-week break in the season with a bye week and play a 1AA team with no portal open and not have to worry about retention of your players. But you get off of a plane at 3 a.m. and you got 6 days to play one of the best teams in the country. Right. And you're trying to retain your own roster from going in the portal. Then you got to do visits because you got from the 2nd from the 5th because you got to be out here at the 5th, right, to get official visit in, right, of portal guys. Okay. On top of guys that have taken other jobs at other places that have to build the portal. So to answer your question, yes, we've got plenty.
To answer your question, we have plenty of coaches. Buddy's right. We've talked about the calendar a million times, Diesel. It's just wild to think that they're playing a playoff game tonight without some of their coaches.
He's a very matter-of-fact guy. I wonder what his press conferences are going to be like when things aren't going his way, right? I mean, currently things are going pretty good, but next year after that, let's say they lose 2 or 3 in a row.
I like
What's
that
a
guy.
Pete Golding presser going to be like?
I like that Pete Golding, man. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of his.
Me too. When we come back, Cole, let's get to the topic that is burning up our listeners, the absolute very latest on both Clemson and South Carolina in the transfer portal, and maybe a follow-up to what we talked about yesterday. What will actually happen to Damon Williams now that the situation has reached the possible climax? We'll get to it next. Well, when it comes to tracking the transfer portal news for South Carolina and Clemson, it can be a lot of hurry up and wait. Hurry up and wait. Hurry up and wait. A lot of rumors out there of guys who have taken visits to either of these teams, some of which may or may not even be true, Cole. So, you got to take recruiting and transfer portal news with a grain of salt.
Yeah, especially for South Carolina.
It's not official until it's official.
Clemson's loading up. South Carolina's trickling, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I always look at it like this. There's going to be those programs and, the tippy top echelon of programs and the ones that have a lot of money. Those schools' transfer rosters are going to fill up quick.
Yeah.
And then there's going to be a next tier and a next tier and a next tier. And then some guys are going to be left out, right? The musical chairs game, the music is going to shut off, and there's not going to be a chair available for some of them. So where are the Clemson Tigers as of today?
Well, it's been an incredible 3 days for Tom Allen. If you're a Clemson fan, Diesel, it has just been unbelievable what Tom Allen and Dabo Swinney have been able to do on the defensive side of the football. Clemson fans would tell you, hey, we still got a lot of work to do on the offensive line. One quick note, Kansas transfer safety Lyric Rawls, he was a Clemson target, Diesel. He committed today to Arizona State. So really big target out of Kansas last year, 72 tackles, 7 pass breakups, 1 interception. He has 1 year of eligibility left, so they did not get him. But the good thing is, guess what? Tom Allen's, like I said, done a really good job. Let's start recent and work our way back with Clemson, and we'll react to these, Diesel. We know how desperate Clemson was to get some ball players on the defense side of the football, right? 5 hours ago, Colorado edge rusher London Merritt has committed to Clemson. A season ago, Merritt recorded 25 tackles, 8 tackles for loss, and a sack in the 1 year he was with Deion Sanders. A massive get for Tom Allen. Pretty solid player. Again, you don't know where this guy will be in terms of starting or his depth or his rotation, but they did get an edge rusher today. And that's a big part of it because you got Will Helt a year ago. Remember, Diesel, he came in from Purdue, and he was able to really help that Clemson team. The edge rusher, I think, is important because on that defensive line, you and I talked about it all year. They were supposed to be elite with Peter Woods and T.J. Parker. And guess what? They weren't elite up front. So bringing Will Helt back and then getting the guy from Colorado today and a few others already that I'll get to in a second, I think that defensive line is a big area for Clemson's defense.
I mean, this feels like it's going to be a case study for years. How did this Clemson defense was expected to achieve so much fall so flat? Is it a matter of hype or is it a matter of poor coaching? Was it a matter of a scheme that didn't fit any of those guys? I mean, look, these guys have been playing for different coaches all their lives. So it's not like going from one coach to another coach is some foreign concept that they're just reeling from and have no idea how to figure out. Tom Allen was a well-respected coach. He comes in from Penn State where he had an elite defense. You would think those guys would have instantaneously respected him and said, oh, God, this is a guy that we want to go run through a wall for because he was really, really good on the defensive side of the ball last year at Penn State. Clemson's got some work cut out for him. This defensive line, I think you got to start with guys that maybe you're not on paper the sexiest choices, but Tom Allen says that's the guy that fits my system that I want to have here.
And you also have to have guys like he brought up a couple of months ago, Diesel, that want to be there, right? That are not only focused on the NFL. And London Merritt, 6'3", 250. He's a big kid. And again, 25 tackles last year, 8 tackles for loss. That was earlier today. Last night, Diesel, for Clemson during the basketball game, Oklahoma defensive lineman Marcus Strong committed to Clemson. He was a rising piece for Brent Venables. So Dabo going and getting one of Brent Venables' guys, and that's really interesting. Marcus Strong last night made it 7 portal commitments for Clemson, but today with Colorado edge transfer London Merritt, that makes it 8. So they, as of right now, have 8 guys that have committed to Clemson. Clemson and Nebraska Diesel have emerged as leaders for Iowa Western transfer defensive tackle Andy Berbija.
Really big guy, 6'3", 295 pound. It looks like they are really focusing on the defensive line. Andy had 78 tackles, 27.5 tackles for loss last year. As of right now, here's where they are on portal signings. I mentioned London Merritt. Marcus Strong committed last night, Diesel, from Oklahoma. He's on the defensive front. They also got defensive lineman Courtney Kelly from West Georgia, safety Corey Myrick from Southern Miss, defensive back Donovan Starr out of Auburn, Jerome Carter, a safety out of Old Dominion, linebacker Luke Farrelly out of Cal, and the first portal commitment for Clemson a couple of days ago, Diesel, was Penn State defensive back Elliott Washington. So look at that. In 3 days, Tom Allen and Dabo Diesel have gone DB, linebacker, safety, DB, safety, defensive line, defensive line, defensive line. Now, that's incredible.
Yeah.
What are they going to do offensively? I think now Chad Morris is like, hey, Chad, you're up. You're up to the plate now. Like,
go get us some dudes.
That's right. Tom Allen's handing him the bat over. But I think you said it. Tom Allen was very well respected. And I don't know the conversation that was had, but I can assure you that there was some sort of conversation had when the season was over. Or maybe it was during the season where Tom Allen looked at Dabo Swinney and said, Dabo, I appreciate that you brought me here, but we've got to have an overhaul in the offseason. These guys, you said it's a great mystery why they were so bad. Now, you got guys like Sammy Brown who are really good, and we talked about the guy from Purdue, Will Helt, really good. But outside of that, the secondary was atrocious, right? Sammy Brown and Wade Woodaz was good. They were good. Wade was kind of disappeared at times, but that defensive front was horrible. So they have revamped. Now, here's the caveat. A friend of mine called me today and said, hey, what do you think about all these portal guys? They've still got to pan out.
Yeah.
You know? And they also still have to be developed. So Clemson defensively has went haywire, but now these guys have to be developed and have to pan out.
Looking down the road, looking down 26 towards Columbia, the South Carolina Gamecocks, transfer portal news, as of right now, sitting in the 63rd spot nationally when it comes to the transfer portal. Again, as those bigger programs start to fill up and get who they want, I think it's going to start to trickle down to some of the other programs. Like, I'm not trying to throw shade at South Carolina. It's just a fact of where they are right now as a football program. It's not the sexy place to be right now. So 5 commits for the South Carolina Gamecocks. 4 of them are rated as 3-star players. 1 of them is unrated, and that is their latest acquisition. They just picked up earlier today, about 4 hours ago, a place kicker out of Texas Tech, Upton Belenfant. He is on his 3rd school in 3 seasons. 2 years ago, he was 3rd team All Conference USA at Middle Tennessee State. Last year at Texas Tech, pretty good. Went 6 of 6 on field goals, and I think he kicked 14 PATs last year. So he was good. He is a very good
solid
kicker,
right?
And you and I both know, Cole, that being a kicker is not the end all be all best place to be on a team, but being a kicker can net you a lot of money for a long, long time in the NFL if you're really good at it.
And how many problems did South Carolina have at kicker this year? You know, the Belenfant guy, he made 88.9 in his career thus far. He has made 88.9% of his kicks. That's Buffalo and Texas Tech. That's pretty good.
Oh, sorry, Buffalo. I said Middle Tennessee.
You're good. Well, I'm just reading. I might be wrong too. Diesel, he's 7 of 8 on kicks between 40 and 49 yards. So he's a pretty good long distance kicker. In the SEC, guess what? You better have a guy who can, go knock some down. But you're right. You've still got some guys, I think, outside of the kicker position that you're waiting and seeing, because there are some important pieces, some important holes on this team that you've got to get filled pretty quick.
Earlier when we talked to John Whittle of the Big Spur, he was really high on the Purdue transfer, Hank Purvis, the inside offensive lineman, 6'5", 360 pounds. He is an absolute tank, a huge dude. They go interior offensive line also with Carter Miller, defensive line with Jordan Thomas, and wide receiver, Cole, a 6'5", 186-pound wide receiver transfer from the Oklahoma Sooners, Jaden Gibson. Think about that. Could you imagine Jaden and Hank standing side by side. Both are the same height. Both are 6'5".
Yeah.
Hank is 360 pounds. Jaden is 190 pounds.
Right.
Oh
That's
my God.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And I will say this. We talk a lot about what's coming in for South Carolina. I think it was last night I saw the news, or maybe earlier today, that Vakari Swain is returning on that defense for South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Diesel, that's huge. Vakari Swain was really good in 2025. So while we spend a lot of time talking about who you're going and getting, you better have good players come back. Shed Surratt coming back at offensive line as well. You know, the Gaffney High School product from right here in the upstate. Shed, Vakari Swain coming back. It's a big deal. Shed was a freshman last year and kind of got baptized by fire in the SEC, but it's big. It's big to see him and Vakari coming back.
Here's another little piece of news for you. Sterling Lucas has officially committed to LSU. Sterling Lucas is going to be heading down to Baton Rouge to go work with old Lane Kiffin. We'll see how that goes for him. Cole, we spent some time yesterday. We opened the show with what might be the biggest story in college football, this situation with DeMond Williams Jr., quarterback at Washington. We're starting to get more and more details coming out. We had a texter yesterday send in a dollar figure of what he thought this player was getting at Washington, and he might have just been throwing this out there as an example. The numbers are now out. He was set to make around $4 million this year from Washington. Like that, this was the rev share from Washington. He was going to get a lot, or total. I take that back. Not just rev share, but total $4 million at Washington.
That's crazy, man.
He recommitted to come back. He signed his deal, and then he entered his name into the transfer portal 4 days later while his teammates were at a funeral for a fellow Washington Husky athlete, a soccer goalie. So it's just real bad timing over there. Well, there's been some developments, and we appreciate Pete Thamel and his reporting because he is on top of all of this.
Yeah.
People have been debating on Twitter. All of a sudden, there's a lot of lawyers on Twitter, right? I've been debating what exactly a contract with a university is. This is what's from Pete. And again, Pete is on top of it. He says, number one, the buyout in the contract reads, the cost of the buyout is at the sole discretion of the University of Washington. So they're not going to be able to they're not going to be able to force him to come back, right? They're not going to be able to hold him against his will or make him play against his will. But at this point, it becomes about restitution. And the buyout number is at Washington's discretion. So they could set that at whatever number.
So it hadn't been set yet?
No, not yet. That number has not been announced. Again, Washington did say that they were going to pursue legal action.
It's going up, right?
The Big Ten collectively all got together and said, hey, Washington, we're going to back you on this. So now you've got the back-to-back national championship winning conference of 18 schools now, all saying, hey, Washington, we're on your side with this. It's not like they're going to hang them out to dry on this. Number two, the contract specifically states that the institution is not obligated to enter the student athlete into the transfer portal. So they don't have to put his name in there. Now, this relates to a situation that happened last year. You may remember the situation with Xavier Lucas, who went from Wisconsin to Miami. He never put his name into the transfer portal, but went anyway. So we're kind of now entering the territory of, well, is a contract valid at all?
Yeah.
Like what is a contract? And why are the schools the only ones who are valuing and honoring contracts if players can just up and decide, hey, contract doesn't apply to me, I'm out, I'm going somewhere else?
Well, it sounds like from what you just said, the contract from the school side of things, you're right, it doesn't apply. I mean, if they can't hold his feet to the fire and make him come back, I mean, give him a buyout number, but I can guarantee you that buyout number is skyrocketing, right?
Yeah.
It's going up by the minute. Second thing on that, the number that was thrown out there, let's say that's true, $4 million. I don't want to be disrespectful to the kid. Demon Williams probably will never play in the NFL. Maybe. I mean, he could.
He's a good player.
He's a good player at Washington. I mean, could be a late draft pick.
But hey, there's only 32 starting jobs in the NFL.
So let's just say making $4 million. Well, guess what, Diesel? You may not have a chance to go to the NFL. Are you even what 1 year of eligibility left? I believe. I just think it just shows where the players' focus is. I mean, the focus of the player in the collegiate level used to be on, I'm going to go do whatever I need to do in college to make sure that I'm setting myself up for a good NFL career. I just wonder, I'm curious, I wonder if NFL even crosses a kid's mind anymore. Like, if a kid's making $4 million at Washington, what's he care about the NFL?
Why do you think they keep petitioning the NCAA to give him more eligibility to stay?
I know.
I mean, I want to come back for another. Trinidad Chambliss, if he can get that, that extra year of eligibility, he's going to come back and make a huge payday.
Huge
you really think
payday.
Trinidad Chambliss is an NFL quarterback?
I don't.
Probably. Yeah. I mean, he might make a roster. He might stay on a roster for a couple of years.
He's not a high draft pick.
No, he's not.
But listen to this. He's 23.
Yeah. He's like, I want to go back to college and make another $5, $6, $7 million, whatever that number may be, because he's probably under the assumption that when I finish here at Ole Miss, I might go get on a team, but I'm not going to stick around for very long.
Here's what's funny about that. He's 23 years old.
Yeah.
He turns 24 in August. Let's say he gets another year. He'll be 25 before he ever plays a snap for the NFL.
Remember we thought how crazy it was that Michael Penix Jr. was an older guy? Now they're all going to be.
Now they're all. Take, for example, Jackson Dart from Ole Miss, New York Giants. He's 22.
Yeah.
So you're having a guy in Trinidad who could go into the NFL at the age of 25, which is crazy to me. 25 years old.
There's some extra elements to add to this now. Pete Thamel has attempted to reach out to Damon Williams' father. He won't talk to him. He's declined to comment. Damon Williams Jr.'s agent, Doug Hendrickson of Wasserman Football, I guess an agency, has dropped him as a client. So this is getting just as ugly as the Nico Iamaleava story last year, but it's playing out with a lot more secrecy at this point. We just don't really know what's coming out of what's going on inside of Damon Williams' camp, because we don't have any information at all coming out of it. Other than that his agent has dropped him, and he is retained. I saw this earlier today. He has retained a lawyer who it's gone now. It's off my Twitter. But it's basically a celebrity Twitter lawyer with 50,000 followers. He has retained new counsel. Look, here's the problem, Cole. I truly believe this. I want to know your thoughts on this. I think there are way too many quote unquote fans of this sport out there, especially those on Twitter, who are not actually fans of the sport. They are fans of young people chasing clout. What do I mean by that? They're fans of how many schools are interested in a player. They're fans of who's offering what amount of money, where are these guys going on visits, who's holding their teams hostage, who's sticking it to a system that undeniably held the upper hand for generations. So they don't really care about the X's and O's anymore.
No.
They care about the contracts, and that's what really excites them about this game.
And that sucks.
It sucks.
I'll tell you this, because I've told you a million times, I hate that we talk more about portal and contracts than we do X's and O's. I hate it.
When it comes to the NFL free agency, we know who is going to be going up for a contract renegotiation or a trade. We know when it's going to happen. We know relatively what their valuation is going to be out on the market.
Yeah.
But that's not close to where we are right now.
It's crazy.
With college football. You could just up and go whenever you want.
You could. Let's talk more Gamecocks. John Whittle, Big Spur, next.
phone. This is Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson on the Fan Upstate.
Well, on Thursdays at this very time, each and every Thursday, we'll be joined by John Whittle of the Big Spur to talk Gamecocks on a variety of topics, different sports as well, not just centered on one sport. John's been on the program before many, many times, good friend of the show, and appreciate his time talking about what he does for the Big Spur and how you, Tolos out there in the upstate, can find their work. And John, let's start with basketball. I want to know from you, somebody who covers this program of Lamont Paris in detail and good depth. We spend a lot of time with the football program talking about the fan base's pulse. Where's the fan base at? We know that the fan base, when it comes to football, is a little bit happier because of some off-season hires with Kendall Briles and others. But where would you say the fan base is on this 8th day of January regarding Lamont Paris's club?
Well, if you'd asked me 48 hours ago, the answer would be a little bit different than what it is now. South Carolina finally got a decent win, the other day on the road against LSU. So that is, I won't say put a bunch of enthusiasm in the fan base, but given a little bit more hope and optimism. There really wasn't a whole lot, the first couple months of the season. You beat the teams you're supposed to beat, which is a little bit of a step in the right direction. But South Carolina hadn't done that a whole lot every year, but they've also lost all their games against quality opponents. So it's been a team that has not really done well what they were expected to do well, which was shoot the basketball from behind the arc. That's one thing Lamont Paris wanted to really address in the offseason and thought he had, and it hadn't really come to fruition, but they shot the ball really well the other day against the Tigers, LSU Tigers. So maybe a little bit of optimism. The SEC isn't nearly as good this year as it was last year, and maybe they can string together a few wins.
Well, John, let's ditto that question, but in the phrasing of Jeremiah Donati.
Well, it's hard to give an autopsy on the season when you're 2 games into an 18-game SEC schedule. So, it's been disappointing so far, but there's still a lot of important games left to play. So, it's too early to really dive into that kind of conversation. So, it was a horribly disappointing year last year. The NIL funding was what was used as the blame, is the scapegoat for that season. The funds there to that program dramatically increased this all season. We'll see what happens with the results.
It's interesting you bring that up because, like John, in traditional recruiting before the days of NIL, it took a few years to build a roster, right? Especially in football. Now, basketball, you only have 5 guys on the court at the time, so you could do it a little bit quicker. But I want to kind of piggytail off of something you said there. They did get an increase to the NIL spend, right, going into this year. In your mind, is that an immediate fix, or is that something that still kind of has to take time?
Well, it's supposed to really jumpstart the process, and you don't really know whether it has or not with this team. Like I said, the results haven't been great so far, and you aren't really doing what you thought you would do well. So it brings in some skepticism. So. It's a good question, but, for me, and, this is probably another conversation for another day, but it just doesn't feel like you build programs right now in college athletics. You just build teams. Yeah. And, you go year to year with how the structure is at this point. And, it's great that Lamont Paris brought in 5 freshmen, and all of them seem like they've got a chance. 4 of them are in the rotation right now, and some of them are playing pretty darn well. But how many of those 5 guys end up being seniors at South Carolina? 10 years ago, probably 4 of them do. This year, in this world that we live in, college sports world we live in, how many of those 5 guys make it 4 years at South Carolina? 1, 2? I just don't see it in college sports right now where you build programs, you build teams.
John, we all know that South Carolina was picked dead last in the preseason coaches poll. Currently, they're not dead last when you look at the net rankings, at least. Mississippi State has fallen below South Carolina, and they have moved up after that win against LSU. So how far above their weight class, essentially, do you believe this South Carolina team can punch? I mean, obviously, we're putting on our prediction pants, and there's a lot of games left to be played here, but where do you now project them to maybe finish?
Yeah, and it's hard. Like, the SEC basketball poll is notoriously bad anyway. You know, most of the SEC media is not paying a whole heck of a lot of attention to basketball in the middle of October when those votes are cast, right? So, you know, it's just I don't put a whole lot of stock into them, and especially right now when teams have so many new guys on their roster. I mean, there's more than just South Carolina that flipped almost their entire roster from last year to this year. So, you know, I say that to say I think we get a little bit better sense over the first couple of weeks of the confidence play, you know, just how teams are going to shake out. Now, I do think South Carolina, if they continue to shoot the ball well, I mean, they're not going to shoot 57% from three like they did the other day against LSU, but if they continue to shoot the ball pretty well from three, they have the potential to I would say not finish last. There's certainly probably a handful of teams that South Carolina can compete with, you know, pretty well. I would say both of the Mississippi schools for sure. Potentially in Oklahoma, potentially in Missouri. Texas has lost 6 games already. I mean, there's a handful, half a dozen teams that South Carolina can compete with pretty well, and I think that if South Carolina can shoot pretty well, they can win. They can win at least some. Whether it's enough to have any kind of postseason, I'm certainly not going that far. But they should be more competitive this year than last.
John, I want to go back to something you mentioned a few minutes ago with the three-point shooting, an area South Carolina was a little bit weak in last year. Obviously, you talked about the NIL spin being boosted going into the season. But, I mean, just take not last night, but the game against LSU. And that win, for example, Meechie Johnson was good from behind the arc. Elijah Strong was good from three-point land as well. Eli Ellis, you know, not as many minutes, and I think he was 2 of 4 from behind three-point land. But who are the guys that, in your mind, from covering the team and being there in person, you feel like Lamont Paris has to get more from when it comes to three-point shooting?
Well, when it comes to three-point shooting, I say Eli Ellis for sure. I mean, going into that game the other night against LSU, he was 20.5% from behind the three-point line. And, you know, if there's one thing that we all thought from a tangible basketball standpoint that Eli Ellis would do well, it would be knock down some three-point shots.
Sure.
And, you know, if he's shooting 20.5%, like, I mean, I'd have thought he would have been doubled that. If you'd have told me Eli Ellis was 41% this time at this point of the season, I'd say, yep, that sounds exactly right to me. But he's at half of that. And, you know, it ticked up a little bit the other day. I think he went 2 for 4 from three the other day. And, you know, that's more of what we were kind of expecting out of him. But there's several guys who can up their percentage a little bit. Certainly Kobe Knox can. Miles Studi can a little bit. Mike Sharaf-Jumps, he can up it a little bit. Like, there's not really a guy on the roster who's shooting from three apart from Grant Polk, you know, kind of what you thought you would see from them.
Talking to John Whittle of the Big Spur. We'll get into some South Carolina recruiting stuff here over the next couple of minutes, John. But starting big picture here, is the fight that Washington is in right now, which apparently now has the full support of the Big Ten, a fight that you wish Shane Beamer, Jeremiah Donati, and co. would be fighting as well? Or do you kind of expect South Carolina, or maybe in general the SEC, to sort of take a wait and see what happens with this Damon Williams situation?
Well, I think if you're going to fight a battle, it better be a big one, like the one that's happening out in Washington. You know, I don't think you need to go to bat and try to litigate things over a backup linebacker or something like that. You better pick the right battle and you know, one that you feel like serves your best interest. And you know, I got no problem with Washington doing that. And, you know, I wish we could see some guardrails is certainly not the right word, but just see some like real change and real enforcement and some real rules and what should be, a basic barometer in college sports.
Hey, John, you one of your co-parts, Alex Jones, had a good piece with Bryant Williams at Target, a portal target for South Carolina. Where do you think the offensive line construction department is right now? Because that's what it is, and going from last year, right, and knowing that this offensive line needed improvement, then you have some guys leave and go into the portal, and now you're having to kind of rebuild that wall up front in a way. Where are you in your mind on the progress of this group up front?
Well, they're taking some steps right now in terms of, they've landed a couple of commitments so far, but, certainly still need to land more. You lost, I can't think it's 9 offensive linemen to the portal, maybe 7 scholarship guys, something along those lines. And you're going to have to sign at least a half a dozen, if not 7 offensive linemen in this portal class. You've got 2, both of them are interior guys. Need to sign a couple of tackles. Like it's a lot of work still to be done. They're trying to climb through and get some guys and they have a couple of guys lined up right now coming in to visit. Seth Smith, you mentioned Bryant Williams is headed out on another visit after finishing up at South Carolina. I guess yesterday it was. All these days are running so close in mind. But Dane Arnett from Ferris State is one. The Pete Kid from NC State is another that they're monitoring very closely and hoping to get in. So there's a lot that's going on, but at the same time, nothing's quite done yet on these offensive line targets. But there's still a lot of work to do, a whole lot of work to do.
John, kind of a follow-up question to that. I don't know if you have the answer, but I do think it's interesting from a fan standpoint, knowing how this works internally. When the portal opens and you can start to go get guys, would you equate it to kind of how a general manager does in the NFL draft, where they have a board and, they have this guy at the top, but if this guy goes earlier than they expected, then they fall down on their board to 2, 3, 4, and they kind of have some other guys in place in case they can't get who they want. Would you say it's a similar process with a portal, or am I kind of off on that?
No, in some ways you're right, but at the same time, in college sports, you got a heck of a lot more schools and a heck of a lot more players. So there's a heck of a lot more to sort through and things changing even more quickly. There's certainly a salary cap type deal in college sports, just like there is in the NFL, but, it's a lot more flexible and the rules are just so different with college sports, and there's just so much greater quantity in terms of everything, and it's really fast moving too. So, and then you got guys who say they're coming back and then change their mind. And good kids are still going into the portal. Good players are still going into the portal right now, even though it opened almost a week ago. So it's similar in some ways, but it's very different in some ways too, that make it a little bit more challenging, I feel like.
John, I think we're starting to round a corner of coaches getting a little bit bolder when they talk about their frustrations with the transfer portal. I think it was Fran Brown at Syracuse 2 weeks ago or so said, hey, we're just out here swapping twos. Yeah. So of the portal guys that South Carolina has already added, who are those guys that are legit ones? Do they have any guys that are legit ones that are coming in? Even if we were talking about a world where the offensive line was already pretty solidified, are they bringing in anybody that really can step up as being a one in the SEC, or are they kind of just supplying bodies at this point?
Well, with Carolina, they've got 5 commitments right now. 2 of them are offensive linemen. I think the closest to a true one that you have is probably Hank Purvis, who's a guard there on the offensive line. You got to see who else is added, but right now I would feel pretty good like he's going to step into a starting position and can compete pretty well at this level. The guy who I would circle is again, there's only 5 guys so far, with one being a kicker. But of the guys who have committed so far, who I would be most excited about, it would probably be Jordan Thomas, the defensive tackle out of Georgia, who, if you're a defensive lineman at Georgia and you're not playing, that doesn't mean a darn thing. There are a bunch of pretty darn good players on that defensive line, and they've got some backups. So they keep churning out guys who are top NFL draft picks at that position. And, so you're getting good coaching, you're getting good development, you're being around great players. I feel like he's the guy right now who I look at most as being kind of the one who I would be most excited about, but the one I would feel most confident in right now, saying like this is a starter, would probably be Hank Purvis, the offensive guard from Purdue.
Let me ask this, my last question for you. One more note on the offensive line. I saw a note from Shed Surratt. Any other guys that you feel like stayed that were pivotal pieces going into the offseason and next year? Not really. Not really. I mean, I think Nolan Hayes got a chance to be good, who's a interior guy. He was hurt a lot this past season. But when he played, he typically played pretty well. So I would say him, if there's one more guy on the offensive line returning, that I would say. But Darius Gray and Zion Giles from the recruiting class, I think both of those guys have a chance to be really good. And, those two are ones that I feel like you really needed to get to campus, and you did. So not too many from from last year's roster, but a couple from the recruiting class who I circle and say, yeah, these are good guys to keep.
John, kind of looking off into the distance, but not too far off into the distance, South Carolina baseball about to get back into the swing of things, pun intended, here in the next couple of days or weeks. General outlook, general thoughts on where this season is going, and do you expect it to be a step up?
Well, you can't take a step back. That's for sure. So I do think it'll be at least a little bit of a step forward. I really don't know how much. I do feel pretty confident about the pitching staff, both in terms of depth and talent. I feel like that is certainly much better this year, in a much better position. From a position player standpoint, I'm not quite as confident, both from an offensive standpoint and defensive standpoint. I think you lost some real dudes, and I don't know how many real dudes you brought in. So, if the question right now is whether South Carolina makes the NCAA tournament or not, I would lean towards probably yes, just on the strength of their pitching staff. But I'm not going to guarantee that this is an NCAA tournament team.
John, you are the best. Always appreciate your time, and we'll talk to you next week, man.
Absolutely. Sounds great. Appreciate you guys.
Game on, gloves off. We aren't pulling any punches.
This is Wire to Wire with Cole Bryson and Diesel on the Fan Upstate.
I'm Chuck Sanders. Here's the Sports Flash presented by Progressive. Men's Hoops Wednesday, Clemson upset number 24 SMU 74-70. Furman beat Chattanooga 78-67. Wofford over UNC Greensboro 97-85. UNC Asheville beat Longwood 72-61. Winthrop over Charleston Southern 81-77. High Point pounded Gardner Webb 104-49. Radford over Presbyterian 80-61. This Saturday's Panthers-Rams wild card game in Charlotte is quickly approaching. It's a 4:30 Eastern kick at Wednesday's practice for LA. Devontae Adams a full participant, so is Quentin Lake. Kevin Dotson, Terrence Ferguson, Jordan Whittington, and Josh Wallace remain out. Head coach Sean McVay says he expects Ferguson will be able to play. The Panthers only had one player miss practice. Derek Brown got a veteran rest day. Everyone else
Feels like that intro has a little more gravitas when you put a twangy guitar and banjo underneath it, doesn't it?
I like
Rip it and rip it, baby. Yeah.
Big buck country.
Big buck country. It's Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson on the Fan Upstate for now. Cole, tonight, 7:30. Airtime / what do we think? 7:45?
Let's guess.
Like you can handicap anything nowadays.
Let's me and you do a bet on it. Let's me and you see who can get close. Kick time.
Yeah.
According to your iPhone. Because our iPhones are the same exact.
They're synced.
Let's go. All right. They say 7:30.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go 7:37.
Oh, I was gonna go later than that.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not gonna go $1 Bob on you. I'm gonna say kickoff will happen at 7:42.
Wow, that's late. That's 12 minutes late.
7:42. 12 minutes.
I'm gonna text this to
I feel like we need a
you.
poll. You know, like those old pools, or remember those things they used to do, the cow patty bingos, where you set up a grid, you number the grids, and which like feed the cow some laxatives, or how many cows just poop a lot anyway.
I've got that written down. I texted it to you. That way we have it. Now that you've got me second guessing, 7 minutes might not be enough. I think you might be right. It might be closer to 7:40.
What do you think, Tolos? What time will we actually get this game
That's a good
underway?
question, man. Yeah. We should have done a Tolo bet on that. What time? The actual kick, when the foot hits the leather, what time will it be?
It feels like, unfortunately, I don't want this to happen. I don't want this to happen, but it feels like this is one of those games where it's anticipated. It's going to be on like the second play. A player goes down, and it takes them like 10 minutes to get him off the field.
Diesel,
I don't want that to happen.
Oh no!
I just feel it. You know,
that'd be bad.
I hate when I hate when any player gets injured.
Yeah,
but I hate when it's like it's like third and 9. The team's got to figure out what to do. Somebody goes down for a long time. That gives them like 10 minutes to figure out a play. All the players cool off a little bit.
Let me ask you this
feeling, you know?
Let me ask you this question. If I told you tonight it was going to be a blowout, that's all I get to tell you was tonight's going to be a blowout. Who wins? If it's a
blowout is an Ole Miss win.
I think so too.
Ole Miss
I think
could
I'm
blow
with you
them
on it.
out of the water. Now, Madcraft would be very upset by this. Let's see. Dan B says he's going 7:34.
Wow.
4 minutes after actual
airtime. Yeah.
Reported kick time.
Right.
No, there's no way.
That'd be close, man. That'd be really close.
7:36?
7:37.
37?
Yeah.
Dan's going 34.
I'm going
42.
7 minutes. You're going 12 minutes.
I mean, it's going to take Pat McAfee 10 minutes to get his fat head off the field.
Tolos, we'll react to what happens tonight, tomorrow on a Friday, Wire to Wire. Tolo.